Hey folks, so as promised, I'm doing a 1 to 60 Paladin leveling run. It's not going to be all in one sitting, as you can probably tell from the time. I'm assuming this is going to be around 2 to 3 hours, so no, I haven't magically found a new route that lets me get to level 60 in 3 hours. I'm just going to be breaking this up probably across like a week or two into multiple parts, because I only have so much time. I'm actually starting this fairly late. I was just kind of exhausted yesterday, so I didn't have time to do the full thing. But I'm going to be actually smart this time, and instead of sitting on the character creation screen, I'm just going to hop right in. So, obviously, once again, it's a leveling run, not a speed run. There's no timer. I'm just going to be leveling a character and doing the usual thing where I give commentary and, like, tell stories and whatnot throughout it. Yep, can skip all that. It's so nice not having to, like, start a timer and worry about all that shit. I'm just, doing stuff. Obviously, I want to make sure I actually get this all set up the way that I prefer. And then raid profiles. Okay, class colors is already on. That should be everything. One thing I really hate about Exile's Reach is just the on-rails stuff. But obviously that's there for new players. I just wish there was, like, a more streamlined version of it for when you've already done it. Like, hey, you've done Exile's Reach on a few characters. Just, like, skip the first few tutorial quests and get into, like, the action. Because this part's, like, just annoying where you don't have, like, access to, you know, a mailbox or anything. But at least it's not very long. And then once we actually get going, once all the setup's done, then I can start talking. I should also note, yes, my character is named Alariel. Yes, that is a Warhammer reference. Yes, I am unoriginal. Whatever. Alright. And then... Okay, yeah. It's just... What the hell? And we're good to go. Alright, cool. So, I need to now skip all the cutscenes, obviously. I have Leatrix Plus working. Yeah, cool. And then this can go here. Toy box, caddy, stamp whistle. Not available during the tutorial. It's not? Ah! Oh, fucking balls. Alright. I haven't done this in, like, such a long time. I kind of forgot that was the case. But that does check out, huh? Shit. Need to do that. That. Minari training amulets. Boop. And... trinkets. Right. I guess we'll just go with double Swift Hand of Justice. Why not? Yeah, okay. God, I hate these pop-ups so much. There's like, okay, there's a way to get rid of them, right? Interface, accessibility. Where is it? No, I forget where it is. Every single time, like, I make a new character in Exile's Reach, I always forget where the thing is to disable all this crap. And then, you know, there's a million comments from people who just watch, like, the first 2 minutes, like, oh, if you go into this setting, you can do it. And it's like, yeah, I always figure it out eventually. But, yeah, tutorials. Right. So, it's still there. Oh my god, it's not going away. Well, that's annoying. Yeah, it just, okay, it's gonna keep doing this. Do I need to reload? I think I need to reload to make it, like, actually go away. There we go. Yeah. Okay, well, we figured it out. Ah, now we're finally done with that. Shield of the Righteous is still AoE at this level. Yeah, I wasn't sure if, like, the AoE part was an upgrade. They do some weird shit with that sometimes. Alright, so I don't have any of my fancy gun shoes or anything like that. I am still going to be trying to go fast. Like, I've said this before. You know, for me, you know, I just like to level efficiently. So even if I'm not doing a speed run per se, I'll still be trying to go through the content at a reasonable pace, which is why I've said, like, I've tried to make a distinction between speed running and speed leveling. And the reason I've done that is because I've said before, I'm kind of done with WoW speed running, but a lot of people are like, oh, he's never going to do a leveling run again. Like, that was never the case, and I kept trying to, like, reiterate that. Like, you know, not doing a speed run again. But then, you know, at that point, people are like, oh, you know, well, if I level a character ever, like, in a video, people will just bitch at me like, I thought you were done with speedruns. There's a difference. I'm done with speed runs for a few reasons. I've said this before. But I dislike generally the competitive side of WoW speedrunning at this point. I just think it's kind of a shit show. It's fun when, or speedrunning is one of those things where it's fun when it's actually, like, regulated properly, right? When there's actually a set of rules that everybody adheres to. And a lot of times with stuff like speedrunning, there are rules which aren't exactly 100% written down, but, like, it's like the spirit of the rules, right? Like, everybody knows, don't do this because it makes the run completely bullshit and unfun. And it's the kind of thing where, generally speaking, if you have, like, an actual good speedrunning community, there's, like, you know, a moderator team that will come to a consensus on, like, yeah, this isn't fun, it's not healthy for, like, you know, competitive speedrunning, and we're just going to make that against the rules. That's, like, a very normal thing that a lot of communities will do. Unfortunately, there isn't that for WoW speedrunning. We have a moderator team, but not a very good one. I've been pretty vocal about this. So what ends up happening is that we just, you know, we have this kind of unregulated speedrunning community where people do really dumb shit, which I've talked about in the past. I don't really want to bring it up here. And it's just not fun. So I prefer to just focus on speed leveling. This, which is just trying to get a character up to max level as fast as possible as a solo player, you know, in a reasonable amount of time without doing stupid stuff that's impractical for like 99% of players. I want to keep my leveling runs like replicatable, right? I've said this before, I'll say it again. I want somebody to be able to watch one of my leveling videos and go, hey, I can do that. You know, it's still efficient. I'm still trying to go about things in as fast like a way as possible. But aside from like buying gun shoes or something like that, I'm not doing anything that like 99% of players can't do. Do want to get that spiel out of the way. You know, that's my classic like first 5 or so minutes spiel on these leveling runs. Just want to put that there so that people don't like yell at me in the comments. All right. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I can actually start talking about like important shit. So where do I start? I've created like a little document for myself that where over the past few weeks I've just been collecting things. I kind of mentioned this in the WoW Classic run, and that one was just kind of something I slapped together beforehand. But this time, every time I think of something, you know, important to talk about, I'll throw it in that document. And this time I've got it like decently filled up. There's like a few different things on here. One thing that I will do at some point, probably like in a few minutes, is I actually want to just throw my Sylvanas kill up here and watch it while I level. Because I don't really want to make an entire video for like my Sylvanas kill. Obviously, it's like, you know, it's been a few weeks now. But I think it would be nice to have it somewhere on my channel. Just because it feels like such a waste to not use that footage. It's not like an impressive Sylvanas kill. We definitely didn't kill it super fast. But, you know, it's cool for me. I'm glad that we finally got it. So I just wanted to throw it up there somewhere. And I think I'll just, like, you know, mess around with OBS real quick. Throw it up there, like, on part of the screen. And I can comment on it while I level. So I'll do that in a bit. But first, I do want to say, like, a few things regarding patch 9.2. Because that's, like, very recent. And kind of wanted to address that somewhere. So, first of all, one thing that I just think is kind of funny. Gluttonous Overgrowth is still bugged. So, in case you're not, like, super into patch 9.2, I know some people still like to watch my stuff even if they aren't playing WoW, which, you know, that's cool. I like that. But basically, there's a rare mob in patch 9.2, Gluttonous Overgrowth, which has been bugged for a while. Ever since, like, the early PTR, it's been completely fucked, and I've been reporting this. I've been telling Blizzard, like, hey, this rare is bugged. Well, submitting bug reports, right? And I don't have a direct line of communication to Blizzard. And believe it or not, nothing has been done about it at all. Now, I figured that at the very least, you know, patch goes live, maybe a day or two, people realize one of the rare mobs is just bugged, and the vast majority of people can't kill it. You would think, right, that they would do something about it. But they haven't. It's still bugged. And I don't know. I don't think I've seen this before. Like, this is kind of bad. You know, I've played a lot of patch releases, and I've seen rare mobs that are kind of buggy, but this one is, like, legit. It can only spawn on a fresh shard. That's it. So, unless you happen to get somebody who pops into a brand new shard, it's unkillable, because it just can't be spawned. So, today, Blizzard put out some hot fixes, right? So I opened this up. And let me find it exactly. Oh yeah, it was last night. Yeah, patch 9.2 hotfixes for February 5th. So I see creatures and NPCs. Fixed an issue where Gluttonous Overgrowth, Leaf Storm ability, increased player movement speed instead of reducing it. Yeah, I know. I thought it was going to be fixed too. Apparently not. Apparently, on the list of priority for things to fix, you know, they choose to fix Gluttonous Overgrowth's ability increasing player move speed instead of decreasing it, instead of fixing its fucking spawn! Which, come on! Like, it's one thing to just, you know, not really be paying attention to stuff at all, but the fact that they actually fixed a bug with Gluttonous Overgrowth and still haven't fixed the bug with Gluttonous Overgrowth, the one that is preventing it from being killed for the vast majority of players, just, what the fuck? I don't think I've ever seen something like this. It's just so baffling. And, I mean, I can't even really be mad, because here's the thing. I've killed Gluttonous Overgrowth almost every single day, because I have the time to just, you know, sit around and, like, you know, do stuff on my second monitor, usually, like, video editing or whatever, and then I keep refreshing LFG once in a while, and then I see a group for Gluttonous Overgrowth, or maybe one of my guildies will find it and, you know, shoot me a message and be like, hey, I found a group for it. So I've gotten a kill on that rare mob. I think I only missed it on day 2. Day 2, I just could not find a group for it, neither could my guildies. On every other day, I've gotten a kill on it. But there are tons of players out there who still have not been able to find it because, you know, maybe they're not really savvy with, like, LFG and they don't know how to look for other groups, or maybe they don't know too many other people who can help them find groups for it. And, yeah, it kind of sucks. It's not, like, the biggest deal in the world, but it's kind of the same thing with my video that I put out on Wednesday, which was the next thing I wanted to talk about. So, the video I put out on Wednesday, that was, in case you missed it, what? Oh, I always forget that this voice line is, like, not affected by the dialogue options. Oh my god, it's so loud! But when we stand united. Now, tell Blizzard, me what's happened here. Do you see this slider? It's not that high. Come on. Okay, Jesus fuck. 964. Cool. And then we have to go this way. Right. Yeah, so my last video on Wednesday was Zereth Mortis rares are time gated. And obviously you guys can't see this because, you know, Blizzard, or almost just blamed Blizzard for YouTube dislikes. No, but YouTube has disabled dislikes, right? So you guys can't see it, but I can tell you right now that a lot of people weren't happy about that video. And the reason most people weren't happy with that video, because a lot of them left really, really, really nasty comments, most of which I deleted, because, as I've said before, I don't need to leave really nasty hate comments up in my videos. There's literally no reason for me to do that. Some people think it's like, oh, you're censoring freedom of speech, but it's like, if you leave a comment telling me that I'm a shit person and that I should kill myself, I will say, credit to this, none of these comments on this particular video said that I should kill myself. It's only been on, there have been cases in the past. But all these ones just, I think the worst they would say is like, you're a piece of shit, you're a shit person, etc., like, you know, you shouldn't make this video, etc. Basically just calling me a garbage person for making something like this, which the reason they think it's bad is they think it's just pointless criticism of Blizzard. A lot of people think that, you know, the fact that I'm criticizing Blizzard for something as silly as rare mobs, in their opinion, is dumb, clickbaity, and just, you know, bad, and I'm a bad person for posting it. Which, I will say, defending Blizzard is, like, kind of a weird take at this point. You know, I think it's one thing to say, like, oh, you know, you're overly complaining, but, like, there were some comments like, you know, oh, Blizzard can't win. One of them did just say Blizzard can't win, and it didn't include a jab at me on top of it. So I actually did leave, like, a kind of joking response to that one and kept it up. But the ones that basically were like, oh, like, you fucking people will criticize Blizzard about anything. It's like, it's such a weird take, you know, right now, like, actually trying to defend Blizzard. But some people did, and I don't get it, but okay. And let me make sure I don't fuck this up. I have accidentally fucked this up because I've been on autopilot before, and it's really embarrassing, so I don't want to do that. Alright. But on top of that, it frustrates me, right? Because, you know, a lot of people will sit there and, like, go up on their high horse and basically say that, you know, Mythic Raiders are toxic because, basically, Mythic Raiders will, end up being the reason why, like, casual content or something like that gets nerfed. So, I've actually seen this a lot, believe it or not, in Zereth Mortis general chat, more than any other place. I've seen so many people saying shit like, you know, the reason Zereth Mortis sucks, which, I mean, admittedly is like, I haven't seen everybody say it sucks. Personally, I'm kind of in the middle. I think it's, like, not the best zone ever made, but it's, like, also not the worst zone. I think it's just kind of fine. But I've seen a lot of people saying, like, this zone is boring, this zone sucks, and a lot of the responses seem to be like, blame the Mythic Raiders. It's the Mythic Raiders' fault. Like, because they always push Blizzard to do more, like, hardcore content, you know, all the casual content gets missed out on, and, like, yeah, you know, Blizzard should do more casual content, etc., which, for the record, I don't want my words to be misconstrued here, I'm all for that. I think it's perfectly fine if Blizzard adds more casual content. In fact, I've said multiple times that I actually like casual content. I like world content when done well. And this is the issue with, like, you know, a lot of stuff where people just misconstrue what you're trying to say. I've been critical of Blizzard's casual content and Blizzard's world content, not because I hate it as a concept, but because Blizzard does a shit job at it. I've said before, if you want good casual or world content, go play Guild Wars 2. It does an amazing job at that. And Guild Wars 2, honestly, was the game that convinced me that, yeah, casual content, when done well, can be really fun. You know, the world events in Guild Wars 2 are awesome. So I absolutely think it can be a very fun part of an MMO when you actually spend time working on it and developing it properly. Blizzard just doesn't do that, which is why I criticize it. But then some people see that and go, oh, you just hate casual content, you're an elitist Mythic Raider, blah, 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 blah. But I do find it ironic that so many people are quick to basically say, oh, fuck you, elitist Mythic Raiders, I want casual content to be better. And then when I say something like, hey, Blizzard, why are you hurting, you know, a type of content that I enjoy, rare mob hunting? It might be pretty niche, but I do enjoy it. And they're doing shit like time gaining the rare mobs, putting them on a daily rotation, then people tell me, like, this is a worthless video, you're just complaining for the sake of complaining. No, I'm not. This is something that I enjoy. I genuinely enjoy rare mob hunting. If that seems weird to you, okay, I guess, that's fine. You know, you have every right to basically think that my form of enjoyment isn't something that you enjoy. But it's so strange to me that, like, when I express the fact that I enjoy this type of content, and I'm frustrated that Blizzard is making it harder to do, people are like, oh, you're just complaining for the sake of complaining. I'm like, no! I'm complaining because I care about this. I even said in the video, like, back in fucking Najatar, I literally spent 22 hours clearing out every single rare mob in one day, and I had so much fun doing that. I still remember it to this day. I had a blast doing that shit. And I was hoping to be able to do that in Zereth Mortis too. And I was pretty clear about that in the video. Like, at no point in the video was I like, "Oh, Blizzard, this hinders my ability to farm reputation. Oh, I'm not going to be able to get revered in X amount of days." Like, that was never my point. I was pretty clear about saying I just enjoy killing rare mobs, and it's frustrating that they're on a daily rotation. In fact, there is no reason for me to farm this bonus rep. I am already more than on track to reach the whatever projected times that I need to. I'm trying to get honored on week 2, and I am more than ahead on getting that. You don't need every single rare mob to get that. I'm fine in terms of, like, reputation. In terms of, like, anything important, it doesn't really matter. The whole rare mob daily rotation thing, it affects 2 people. It affects people like me who, you know, whether you think we're weird or not, like to farm rares. I like to farm rares. I just do. And it also affects people who like to collect, like, toys and mounts. Now, I just like to kill rares for the sake of killing rares. I like to, you know, complete the map and get that sense of, like, yeah, I killed everything today. I feel really good about that. That's just how I feel about it. But some people really like that sense of, you know, collection. They like to get all the mounts and get all the toys and get all the pets and stuff like that. And there's a bunch of new ones in Zereth Mortis. Like, for instance, Zyrath drops a toy. Zyrath wasn't up for a few days. So if people really wanted that toy, they wouldn't have been able to get it. Stuff like that. I don't know if any... I think, well, Huracan and Iska are the only rares in Zereth Mortis that drop a mount, and both of them, as far as I know, are off the daily rotation. So that's good, at least, though. Huracan has his own set of requirements behind him. I'm pretty sure, like, I haven't seen this confirmed 100%. I haven't really looked into it, but I've seen people saying that if you actually farm, like, the Huracan lore, you get, like, a 100% drop chance in the mount, which I actually think is pretty nice. I like the idea of the mount can drop for you, regardless, you know, even if you don't summon it, but it's like a 1% chance, and then if you are the one to summon it, you automatically get the mount. I don't know if that's true. That's just what I've been told, but if that is the case, that's actually pretty cool. I like that. But yeah, so my point was, I think it's so strange that I can make it a relatively, and maybe there was like people new to my channel, but I would say that was like relatively like calm for me. I don't know. Like, if you've been around here for a while, you've definitely seen me like get pissed off at like some decisions Blizzard's made, and I'm usually pretty fucking vocal about that, and I don't really, you know, hold my words back. If Blizzard does something to piss me off, I'll vocalize that. This was like a very minor gripe, like a frustration of like, come on, Blizzard, why? And it just, lots of dislikes. Still positive like to dislike ratio, I should say, at the end of the day. Like, most of the people who watched it definitely liked it, but it's a surprisingly large amount of dislikes, in my opinion, for something that I thought was pretty tame, but oh well. I think it's funny how, like, if you criticize Blizzard at all, like, you get this army of Blizzard simps that, like, come out of the woodwork, and they're like, how dare you say one bad thing about Blizzard? You know, they can do no wrong, even though they're literally in the middle of, like, all these controversies right now. I guess that, like, maybe just because nothing new has happened, everybody's already forgotten all the bad shit that Blizzard's done, but, like, it's not really a company that you want to be defending, you know? Like, I'm not going to sit here and go on, you know, a crusade against Blizzard for all the bad shit they did. I'm also going to keep playing World of Warcraft because, you know what? I enjoy it. It's a fun game. You know, at the end of the day, I like raiding. So, that's why I'm going to keep playing it. But I also think it's really strange to be actively defending them, especially when it's like, you know, unless you genuinely think that the rare mob rotation is a good thing, why? Like, why bother defending it so that, like, somebody else's fun can be ruined? I know I'm probably getting, like, a bit too, like, over the top about this one little topic, but it does frustrate me. It frustrates me for a lot of reasons. Because, you know, I'm sure 99% of the people who complained about it don't really have a strong opinion, one way or the other. on whether or not rare mobs should be on a daily rotation. They just see somebody being unhappy with one of Blizzard's decisions and decide, like, this is useless feedback. I'm going to tell this person that they should, delete their video, etc. So yeah, that's the shit that I gotta deal with when I try to voice my opinion on the internet. It's fun, but, it's not gonna stop me because, well, if something pisses me off, I'm gonna say it pisses me off. Just, that's the other thing. Like, I've been told, you need to have thick skin to be a YouTuber, and like, yeah, but that doesn't mean I can't bitch about people being dumb. Like, I have enough thick skin to the point where I'm not gonna stop saying any of the shit that I'm saying, but I'm still gonna, mention the fact that, yeah, a lot of people are really stupid. Honestly, I find it, like, cathartic a little bit to talk about stupid people. It's fun, but anyway, now that we've gotten that done, on to the next topic. So, what else? I guess, minor break, let's watch the Sylvanas video, if I can get this set up, right? So, I would have to go over here. Where do I have it? Oh, yeah, it was our last pull of the night. Oh. Right. Yeah. Okay. So, last pull of the night. I remember I started recording, too, the second to last pull. And our second to last pull was an absolute shit show. And I was super tilted. Then going into the last pull of the night, I was like, oh. I think it was actually... No, it wasn't the last pull of the week. It was the last pull of the night on a Tuesday. And then we got Wednesday, Thursday off. But I remember we had like a 0.1% wipe on the last pull, or it wasn't the last pull of the night, but like one of the last pulls of the night, the week before on a Thursday. And I was like, please kill it tonight so I don't have to come back next week, or, well, next week so we would be able to re-clear. And I was really hoping to get more gear, but oh well. Entered the tier with only a single Cruciform Vein Ripper, which admittedly is more than a lot of other people got, but I was hoping to... dual-wield Cruciform Vein Rippers. Would have been pretty nice. But alas. Okay, so, second window, let's see. I can't see it in the breakdown. Nope. That's not it. And... Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, well, as I do this quest, I'll see if I can figure it out. Yeah, it's not popping up on here for some reason, which is unfortunate. Don't really know why that's the case, but, well, I might just need to skip this for now. I thought it would be a little bit like of a fun thing to do, but it doesn't seem like this wants to cooperate. For some reason, I can't just, like, open a video in, like, Windows Media Player or whatever and put it in, like, a second thing. That's kind of lame, but oh well. So, no Sylvanas kill for now. Maybe I'll figure out how to do that in part 2, and we'll do it then. Oh well. Sucks. Anyways, so... what else? I have a lot of stuff on this list that I can talk about. I'm not even sure where to begin. I think that's one of the problems with, like, putting too much on this list. Like, sometimes I like to keep, the dialogue natural, but it also leads to a lot of cases where I'll just forget what I was talking about and leave, like, dead air. And, I don't exactly want to do that. So I am going to try, for the most part, to keep talking about stuff. Here's a good one. Okay. So, one of my recent videos, it was the same one. It was the, Blizzard put rare mobs on a rotation, right? But towards the end, I mentioned the whole thing about, like, Asmongold, and I thought that whole situation was kind of funny, because initially I was going to make a video about that. I was kind of, like, thinking, I can make a short video on, like, how to get to Gorkek, how to get to Tokwitz, because pretty sure it'll be useful for a few people. Now, I decided to hold off on making that video for a few reasons. I would say the primary one is more just because I figured that something like that would become outdated really quickly. So, generally speaking, I don't like to make videos that will entirely become outdated within a short period of time. So if it's the type of thing that, you know, you're going to watch either like this week or you have no reason to watch it at all, because Gorkek, you know, you don't need to do anything special to reach him. Starting next week, the teleporter will be activated. Takwitz, the moment you get flying, he's going to be really easy to reach. So basically that video would have a very short, like, actual lifespan, and I wouldn't want to spend time actually working on something that wouldn't really last that long. There are some exceptions, right? Like the Blizzard put rare mobs on a daily rotation video in and of itself kind of has a limited lifespan because it only really matters for people that are actually doing this now. It's not going to matter too much in the long run, but I wanted to put that out there because it was really important information that I hadn't seen anybody else discussing. So I was like, okay, yeah, I should probably make a video about this. Also, there's not a lot of ogres. I feel like there should be more. I don't know if somebody like came in and killed them all, but it seems pretty empty. Alright, weird. Yeah, I guess a lot of them were just killed earlier. Took a while to respawn. But with the Gorkek one, it is actually a little bit of a shame because I thought it was like kind of a funny thing, but then I literally like saw in our general chat, you can see it in the video, someone posted like Asmongold did it first. And at first I wasn't sure if it was like somebody just being sarcastic, but no. Later on in my YouTube recommendations, you know, video of Asmongold basically breaking outside of Zereth Mortis and getting to Gorkek's area, which, like I said, I put it like in small text at the end. Like, I'm not even mad. Honestly, I'm impressed that he did it that fast. Like, I thought I was clever within the first like few hours figuring out a way to get over there. Because, like, I saw Gorkek on the map, like, early on, and I was like, huh, I wonder if you can actually kill him. And then I basically dragged my guild into a raid group, and I'm like, alright, we're gonna try to climb up this mountain, and we're gonna go over there and kill this rare mob. And, like, it was about, like, an hour into the patch, and we spent, like, 30 minutes trying to do it. And I guess, like, Asmongold must have done it, like, ASAP. I didn't actually watch the stream, just the clip. So, we got done with it after he did, apparently. But I had a lot of fun with it, so I wanted to at least include it there. And after we found out that, like, Asmongold, like, beat us to it, I remember, like, you know, posting in Discord, like, our guild Discord, like, you know, it's a shame, but apparently, yeah, Asmongold did beat us to it. And everybody was like, damn. And then I kind of noted, like, offhandedly, I was like, damn, you know, I really thought I was, like, the first person to think of that. Like, disappointing that I wasn't. And then one of our hunters commented, like, you know, oh, your hairline hasn't receded enough to beat Asmongold's. Which, you know, there's sometimes where you type something out, and then, like, midway through typing it, you're like, yeah, that's actually really stupid, I probably shouldn't type that. But, like, you know, the immediate dumb thing that came to my mind is just like, you know, oh, because I'm half Brazilian, like, I have the opposite problem of too much hair, so I guess I'll never beat Asmongold. And, like, in my head, that sounded funny, and in reality, it's just dumb. But that was, like, the first thing I thought of, so I got it, like, 90% typed out, and then I had that moment of, like, you know, I shouldn't type this. This is just stupid. Like, I'm just gonna look like an idiot. I don't know, maybe I should have typed it, but I'm pretty sure most of them would have just been like, what the fuck? Like, it's a dumb thing to say. Especially, I think it's weird to, like, call yourself too hairy. It's just, like, a strange comment. Even though, like, yeah, you know, that is one thing about being part Brazilian. I think I've mentioned this before. Well, I definitely have mentioned this before because I've said before that, like, whatchamacallit, like, I can make fun of Ragnaros players. Because, you know, it's like, you can make fun of people that are, like, you know, of your own ethnicity, right? So, like, I can make fun of Brazilian players because I am technically half Brazilian. So, like, you know, I'm basically saying that, like, you know, I am half stupid if I call a Ragnaros player stupid. So, it's okay for me to do that. And I've also said on that note, basically every single, like, Brazilian WoW friend that I have also hates Brazilian WoW players. I don't know what it is, but it's like, all of, like, the good Brazilian WoW players, they move over to American servers, or just, you know, North American servers, just in general, because they hate playing on Ragnaros. Like, every single one of them has told me that, like, every single group that they get into on Ragnaros is just so fucking bad and terrible. And they just prefer, you know, finding groups here. But that's a completely different tangent. That's the kind of shit that, like, if I go too much into it, I can get myself canceled. So I'm gonna leave it there. But yes, that was the whole thing with Asmongold. I kind of like left it in briefly at the end. I included my friend's comments about, Asmongold's viewers summoning him there because I thought that was pretty amusing. So I wanted to like include it at the very end, but otherwise, kind of left it out. But it was a fun experience. That's the kind of thing that, like, yeah, I wish I had made into a video, but I have to pick and choose sometimes. I only have a limited amount of time to make a video, and I want to make it a good one. I guess, speaking of which, something that I didn't include on my list of things to talk about, but it's probably worth discussing, is Torghast. So, I didn't upload a video for Thursday and Friday. And on one of those days, I was considering uploading a video about Torghast, about, like, the new Jailer's Gauntlet mode, like, my thoughts on it. But, I mean, it's kind of a combination of two things, right? One, everybody and their mother has made a video about Torghast. There's, like, a lot of, like, really easy topics in World of Warcraft that literally anybody with a YouTube channel will be like, oh, I'm gonna make a topic discussing this, and, I'm gonna get like 1 million views because, like, it's relevant, right? And they all just like regurgitate the same info and copy each other, and it makes it like really boring. It's one of the only reasons, like, I almost didn't make a guide on flying in 9.2. I think I've mentioned this before. I may not have actually posted it though, but I actually almost didn't make that video. I'm glad I did because, like, it's been well received, but because there are so many people that have made like generic guides on flying, I'm like, do I really want to put the millionth guide on flying out there? But the reason I did it is because a lot of them get this information wrong. So a lot of people think that starting on week 3, right? When chapter 5 unlocks, that's when you'll be able to get flying. Because for the longest time, a lot of places, including Wowhead, for the record, have been regurgitating this like piece of information that, oh, you unlock flying at the end of chapter 5. Early on in the PTR, that was the case. That is not the case anymore. It's now unlocked at chapter 6, meaning that basically week 4 is the earliest you can unlock flying, when you complete chapter 6. So I see all these guides basically regurgitating the same info, even though, for the record, a quick check on the PTR confirms what I'm saying. I mean, now it's on live, right? So right now, you can look for yourself. I can probably look right here. After I do this, you can look at it while I'm on, like, the on-rails flight thing that you have to do here. But literally, it takes anybody with, like, the smallest, minuscule brain on the fucking planet to double-check for yourself and figure out what flying requires. That's also what pisses me off so much about, like, a lot of these, like, WoW YouTubers. A lot of them just, they don't fucking look up anything on their own. Like, I've seen 1 million videos on topics where it's clear that, like, 0 personal investigation was done. It's entirely just, like, they looked shit up on Wowhead, they, looked shit up on other YouTube videos and said, okay, I'm gonna take this information and make my own video about it. And, like, I literally don't make a video on anything unless I've done extensive personal testing, either, like, on the PTR or in-game. The only thing that I use Wowhead for is for, like, basically visuals on stuff that's kind of hard to display. So, like, when I was displaying the crafting reagents for, like, legendary recipes, I went to Wowhead and I displayed their compiled list of legendary reagents, because it's kind of hard to, like, character hop between every single profession in, like, one sitting and get all that footage when Wowhead already has it there in their database all in a row. So, pretty nice. So, that's, like, the only case where I don't literally go out and grab something myself. I find it so lazy to just copy off other people and then make the millionth video on something. But yeah, so on that topic, yeah, let's look at this. Exploration, Shadowlands, unlocking the secrets, a means to an end. This thing. Now, obviously, I can't see it here because, the Shadowlands chapter thing isn't up on that. But on your main character, on your level 60 character, go check for yourself. It's right up there. You can see in order the chapters. It's chapter 6. Chapter 6 does not unlock until week 4. And every single fucking guide is saying you unlock it at week 5, or week 3 when chapter 5 unlocks, which is just wrong. It's flat out misinformation. So that pisses me off, right? And that's why I had to make a fucking guide on it. Because just people can't get their information right. And, you know, I didn't really want to have to make the millionth guide in flying, but I also didn't want people to be operating with wrong information. Because, you know, that would suck. It would suck, like, if you were planning on getting all your flying stuff ready and you were really looking forward to, enchantment requires level 50? Oh, shit. Well, I can at least use some of this. Alright, I did fuck up with the, Alright, I'm just gonna send this back to, yeah, Raccoon Mal'Ganis. That is my bank alt, and we're good to go. I'm gonna get rid of all this anyway. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. It would just suck, right? It would suck if you were expecting to have flying at a certain time, and then you found out you couldn't because some YouTuber was too lazy to actually, you know, do his own information. And so I try to basically make my stuff as accurate as possible, and when I fuck up, I correct it. Like, I fucked up with the, whatchamacallit? The, rare mob thing. I was under the impression there were no daily rotation rare mobs, and I got that wrong. So I made a video detailing my findings, and I've been updating a pinned comment. I don't know how many people have seen that. Probably not a lot, but I don't really care. I'm going to keep updating it. I want to keep the information accurate. But on that video, I have a pinned comment, and every single day, I go back and I update that pinned comment with my findings. Basically, you know, these are the rares that I didn't find today. I would say on that topic, on the topic of the rare mob rotation, it appears that currently there are 6 rare mobs every single day that are not up. So that would mean that you only have 23 rare mobs out of the Adventurer of Zereth Mortis ones to kill every single day. And then on top of that, you have, like, what's it called? The Dune Dominance rares. So those 3 are up every single day. But some days you don't have, you don't have more than 2 of the Endless Sands rare mobs. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, with the Zereth Mortis rare mobs, there are basically, I would say 3 types, and 2 are kind of similar. There's, like, generic rare mobs. There's rare mobs located within the Endless Sands area. I don't know if I can actually, like, yeah, I can check this. So, yeah, most rare mobs just across the zone give 10 rep. Any of the rare mobs in this area, so Garudion, Mother Festus, Karis, and General Zarathura, give 15 rep. And then these 3 rares, Dune Dominance ones, also give 15 rep. So the problem with the rotation, once again, not a huge deal, but is a little bit annoying. Gonna do the the WOD intro, because why not? I'll set my Hearthstone here, though. There we go. Alright. And yeah, can go over there. So what's it called? Yeah, so it's not hugely important for rep, like I said. Despite all this stuff, I'm more than on track to hit, like, Honored on time, to hit Revered on time. But currently, like, today, actually, the reset just happened 20 minutes ago, but for the previous reset, there were only 2 Endless Sands rare mobs up. Mother Festus was up, and Garudion was up. As far as I know, they are not part of the daily rotation. I've not seen a day where they aren't up. Mother Festus was up all the time on the PTR. That has been the case as far as I can tell on live servers. So I'm pretty sure they're not associated with it, but Akaris and General Zarathura are definitely part of the daily rotation. And for the most part, early on, it was like either Akaris was up or General Zarathura was up. But for the last 2 days, neither one has been up. So it's kind of a problem, because if 2 of the rare mobs that give 15 rep are missing, then on some days you just get less total rep than on other days, which kind of sucks. You know, it's one of those things where it's not a big deal, but it is kind of dumb, and it's the kind of thing that Blizzard just shouldn't fucking do, because there's no reason to do it. So that is kind of an issue. I don't know exactly how it works, but it does seem like 6 total rare mobs are part of that rotation. And I've been going back and updating that pinned comment every single day to basically give up-to-date info. Thing I'm trying to say is it just pisses me off when other people don't do at least basic levels of shit. Because I'd like to think I'm trying to be pretty fucking comprehensive with my coverage, right? You know, I don't like to half-ass something. When I cover something, I want to do it right. And then I also keep it updated later on. It's like with the rep guide. If you haven't heard, Patterns Within Patterns is going to be changing to a weekly thing. So now I need to update my rep guide. But, you know, that's the thing. I made a written version of the rep guide. So basically, I can now update that document in the future to keep my guide up to date and respond to, like, changes that Blizzard might make. It's one of the nice things about it. God damn it. Yes, yes, yes. All right. But yeah, it's a long rant. All of that to say, unlike the, you know, thing with flying where a lot of people were getting something wrong and I had to make a video to give people the actual correct information, there's nothing interesting to say about the new Torghast mode. That was what started all this, I know. It got very sidetracked. But I thought about making a video on it. The problem I have with, like, the new Jailer's Gauntlet mode is it's so bland. I've seen a lot of videos praising it, and I'm gonna be honest, it's like, yeah, you know, a lot of people love to deep throat Blizzard, but the new Torghast isn't that good. It's good by Torghast standards, I guess. So if we're really setting our standards that low that, like, oh, it's not worse than original Torghast, like, I guess, yeah, it's good. But if we're actually setting our standards for, like, something that's fun, something that you'll want to play, it's not there. It's just boring. So I could have made a video about that, but, like, I don't know. It's just, I feel like something being not good or not bad is, like, the worst combination. You know, if it's good, you can make a video praising it. And I can be like, hey, this is really good. Great job, Blizzard. You know, you did a really good job with this new Jailer's Gauntlet mode. If it was really bad, I could have made a video basically being like, Blizzard, what the fuck are you doing? Why did you make this mode so goddamn garbage? But it's not. It's not bad. It's just so bland. So, I don't know. I can't, like, fault them for it. Like, at least they did something, you know? It's better than nothing, which, like, you know, I guess a lot of people have just come to expect that from Blizzard, so they're just really excited when we get something like that. But I don't know. Like, I don't I don't like to give Blizzard that much credit, right? You know, some people feel like, I don't know, they have to, like, give Blizzard credit where it's due. Like, I'll give them credit where it's truly due. But, like, this, it's literally just a you know, intern reused some assets and made, like, a new mode where you kill bosses. Nothing about it is, like, unique or special. It's literally just you enter a room, you get you get a few anima powers right off the bat. You kill, like, 2 waves of mobs, no new mobs, just the same old mobs, same rooms, and then one of the end bosses that we've seen a million times will spawn. You kill it, you move on to the next floor. Rinse, repeat. You do this 8 times, and then you're done. It's exactly what it's advertised, I guess. It's a Torghast boss rush mode. Blah. But it's just not fun. Like, I would say the one credit I could give it is that it's not mandatory. Honestly. I would be complaining if it was mandatory. So if Blizzard basically said, you need to do this new Jailer's Gauntlet mode to get, like, Cosmic Flux or whatever. Or hell, even if they required regular Torghast to do Cosmic Flux. Regular Torghast is still just as shit as it's always been, though. Then I would be complaining. Then I would be like, hey, Blizzard, Torghast still sucks. Why do we need to do this for rating? But you know what? It's not. It's not mandatory. You absolutely don't need to do it. So I kind of, like, view it with the perspective of, you know, if somebody really enjoys this, okay, cool. Like, I'm not going to make a video basically saying, I don't enjoy this thing, when it's not an objective problem. Because in my opinion, forcing Torghast onto players when they didn't want to do it, that's a problem. That's the kind of thing that, yeah, you know, I think you're justified in bitching about. I think I had every right to make, videos complaining about that. I think everybody had a right to make videos complaining about that, saying, like, Blizzard, stop forcing us to do Torghast when Torghast fucking sucks. But if Torghast is optional, then, yeah, I'm not going to make a video complaining about it. I would rather something be optional than not, I guess, if it's not fun. I think that everything should be like that, so I kind of said this about the Cypher system, right? It's actually, yeah, the Cypher system's actually a perfect example, because the Cypher system has a lot of stuff that, I don't know if you can hear my dad, but he's talking in the other room, which I don't know why. Plenty of other places in the house to have a conversation. Whatchamacallit? I got distracted by that. Yeah, I think the Cypher system's a perfect example, because the Cypher system has a lot of casual stuff tied to it. Like, I kind of joked about this in one of my videos of, like, I think it was the speedrunning patch 9.2 video, where I said, it's kind of dumb because they have some stuff that's basically not mandatory. It's not as bad because it's not, like, super mandatory. It's just kind of mandatory. It's mandatory in the sense that it helps you speed up your, it helps you speed up getting rep. So it's mandatory if you want to have double legendaries by the release of, week 5, I believe. Whatever the earliest time is, whenever Chapter 7 unlocks. In order to get double legendaries unlocked without farming rares, by that point, you need to interact with the Cypher's console. You need to research Casual Understanding, and you don't need to research anything else technically, but it is helpful to research at least Altonian Understanding and Sopranian Understanding. That helps. So, not mandatory, but pretty goddamn important. And even if something is not 100% mandatory, but still pretty important for progress, that still matters. That's still the type of thing that, like, people like me who like to min-max are going to feel forced to do. So, I have to min-max the Cypher system, even though I don't care about the Cypher system, and it's so easy to just not do that. It's so easy to just not lock player power behind it at all. Because, like I've said before, 99% of the stuff in the Cypher system is not player power. It's shit like, give a costume to Pokepock. So if most of it isn't player power locked, why is some of it player power locked? Just make the entire thing about, like, getting cool bonuses out in the world. Like, there's this whole section of the Cypher system about, like, turning Pokepock into, like, this awesome bodyguard or whatever. Fine, whatever. I'm never going to interact with that. I'm never going to give a shit about that. But some person might, and they would probably really enjoy it. And there's another section about, like, getting these research consoles unlocked within Zereth Mortis that, give you these special buffs while in the zone. Once again, I could not give less of a shit. I would never do that. But some other person might do that. So, people who actually care about all that cool stuff, like, getting all these unlocks within Zereth Mortis, they're still going to use your system, Blizzard. No, they're still going to do that. But I'm going to hate the system regardless, because I just don't think it's very interesting. It's just not something that I really want to engage with. But then they have to sneak in, like, you get a bonus world quest, you get a bonus daily quest, like text in there. Which, like, why? Because that's actually important. That's actually relevant for us. That's needed to actually, increase the power of our character at a reasonable rate. So, the moment you put something like that in there, I then have to go and make a guide to, partially for YouTube, but also for my guild, so I can explain to them how they have to go through this system. Like, that's the other thing. Like, a lot of these guides that I make, it's not just for YouTube, right? It's not just like, oh, let me throw it up there and get some views. No, I use a lot of those guides. I've been using my reputation guide. Because, believe it or not, I don't have all that shit, like, 100% memorized. I do the research, I jot down my findings, and then I look over my findings and compile an ideal rep farming route based on that. And then now that I have the ideal rep farming route, I can refer to it specifically so that I don't need to keep track of all of it in my head. So I've been using my own rep guide to basically, like, go and say, oh yeah, what do I need to do on my alts? Oh right, I don't need to do anything except world quest today. Cool, I'm just going to do my world quest today. It's that simple, right? So that's nice, and then it also helps my guild because a lot of them don't want to do PTR testing, but they still want to, be viable. So, I'm doing the work for them. I'm like, okay, I did the PTR testing, so you don't have to. And a lot of them were using my guide day one. Obviously, I was online, so if they had questions about it, they would ask me. They'd be like, yo, so how do I do, this treasure thing? Like, one thing that a lot of them were confused about, which leads me to believe that I probably should have explained it better in my actual guide, is the whole thing about ignoring treasures day one for the Echo Giro Genesee. Maybe I did explain it properly and none of them actually watched the video guide. I don't know. But I had to explain to so many people in my guild the whole thing about, not opening treasures and then researching the tech creation and then getting the Echo Giro Genesee. They did it, though. They all listened to me, or I think, most of them. Some of them were like, oh, I don't want to follow a guide. I just want to play the game. But it's one of those things where, that's a fine attitude to have, most of the time. And, if you're just playing the game and still being efficient, whatever. But, we are, a mythic guild that is planning to take prog semi-seriously. We're not Liquid. We're not, Echo, right? We're not on the absolute top, bleeding edge of progression. But we do plan on taking progression semi-seriously, and this applies to any guild. Every guild has their own priorities. Every guild progresses at their own rate. And, you need to respect, the attitude of the guild that you're in. If your guild does have a higher emphasis on progression, well, you should try to meet that, or you should try to find a different guild. Not every guild is for every person. So I've especially had issues with one dude in the guild who has continually basically said he doesn't care about, his character's progress. He's been very vocal about bragging about the fact that he might just show up to raid without double legendaries, and he doesn't care. It's not that big of a damage increase, which pisses me off, because, you know what? If you're in, a casual, low-tier mythic guild, or, a heroic guild or something like that, and you don't want to have to do all this farming to get your double legendaries as soon as possible, that's fine. That's a totally fine mindset to have. I'm not judging somebody because they don't want to farm as much as I do. But when somebody joins a guild like this, that their stated goal is, we want to be serious about mythic progression, we want to get shit done, and then they say shit like, I don't really care about, doing this optimally, I'll get it when I get it, it doesn't matter if I lose damage, that's just not the mindset that the rest of us have. So it's if you have that mindset, that's fine, just don't be in a guild where everybody else has the exact opposite mindset. And especially, it was tilting seeing him say that shit in the general channel of our Discord, while we're all sitting there discussing optimal ways to farm rep and stuff like that. And I think he said this after the change about patterns. So Blizzard posted the change about patterns within patterns, and then I said something like, I'm kind of worried about how this is going to affect the rep farming route. And I'm like, I'm hoping that this will keep my projections the same. And all I'll have to do is basically change around the guide a little bit, change the wording, but my projected times for reaching Revered won't change at all. And other people were chiming in yeah, I think they're probably gonna, keep the rep the same in total, so it probably won't be a big deal. And then some of them were asking me whatchamacallit, will they need to complete the patterns on Sunday? Which, because I'm not gonna update the rep guide before then, if you do happen to be watching this and you have seen the rep guide, yes, complete the patterns within patterns that we will get on Sunday. That is going to spawn, and you'll have 2 days to complete it. And presumably, my hypothesis, right, is that we're going to get a brand new quest ID for patterns within patterns. So it's a completely new quest. So we do the one on Sunday, and then when the new weekly version spawns on Tuesday, everybody will have access to it, regardless of whether or not they completed the one on Sunday. Once again, this is my hypothesis. I don't know this for sure. I have no way to prove this. But I don't think it would make much sense to basically punish players for staying on top of their, quests and getting patterns done as soon as it pops up. That would just be really weird. And in theory, right, if the new version of Patterns Within Patterns is equivalent to an entire week's worth of rep, which I would say if they wanted to translate it correctly, they're gonna need to do something like 1,000, or they would need to do 1,175 roughly, if they wanted to make it roughly equivalent. I think honestly, if Blizzard wants to be really smart about this, my opinion would be they should make the new patterns within patterns give 1,250 rep, which would actually be slightly more than what we had before, because the actual reputation you gain from patterns every single week is you get 2.3 patterns worth of rep. So, you know, 2 patterns would be 1,000 rep because they're 500 each, and then, you know, 1/3 of it would be, I don't know, math is hard. It's somewhere around like 175. I think 175 is too much though. Let me do napkin math. That would be 25 over, right? There's 300, then 150. Yeah, 25 over. So it would be something like 166 rep. But Blizzard doesn't like to do that generally. They like to do round numbers. So I think the closest that you can make it while still being like on the projections that everybody had made would be like 1,175. That's like a nice round number that still keeps projections exactly the same. But I think that Blizzard could do one better and just make it 1,250, and that way it's ahead of what you would normally be getting from patterns. Nobody would complain about that. Absolutely nobody would be upset about having to farm slightly less rep. It wouldn't massively change the projections, and it doesn't really matter anyway, because if you think about it, you know, you can't unlock it until the time when the weekly quest or the chapter quest rolls around regardless. So it's not like they'd be giving people earlier access to something. All it would be doing is basically being like a nice show of goodwill to maybe some people who missed a bit of rep, and they would be able to get it without having to farm additional rare mobs. That's, in my opinion, the best way they could go about this. As for whether they will, I don't know. Impossible to say, but that's kind of what we were discussing in Discord. And then this guy comes in and says, oh, I don't want to farm rep at all. You know, I don't know how you guys log on and just kill rares all day. It's so boring. And, you know, first of all, as I've said, I enjoy killing rare mobs. You know, can call it weird. But I find that fun. So I find it a little insulting when somebody basically tells me, like, oh, you know, you do this? That's so dumb. You know, I enjoy it, right? That's my idea of fun. I'm not saying everybody else should do that. In fact, I never told anybody in my guild to farm rare mobs, because rare mobs are literally stated on my route as not being required at all. I designed my guide with the intention of basically making it so you don't have to kill a single rare mob. So, never tried to force that upon my guild. But, like, I could be like, you know, I don't know how you enjoy playing Elden Ring all day and, you know, constantly flexing about, like, all the shit that you managed to kill. Like, personally, I'm sure some people ask me about this. Like, every time a new game comes out, I get, like, some messages like, have you heard about this game? So I'm sure eventually somebody will message me and be like, have you heard about Elden Ring? Are you going to cover it? No. I'll head that one off. No interest. I don't think it's a bad game. Once again, I have to say this every time, because, like, you know, if I say I don't want to cover something, like if I say, you know, I don't want to play Lost Ark, which is another game that people have been asking me about, that, once again, I don't really have any interest in playing. At first, I will say I approached it with the mindset of, like, I might check it out, but not anytime soon. But I'm going to be real here. I've looked into it. It's not something I'm interested in at all. There is a certain level of pay to win where you could say WoW has pay to win, and yes, WoW does have pay to win, but I would say WoW's pay to win falls squarely within the threshold of something that I'm kind of okay with, because WoW's pay to win doesn't affect me. WoW is definitely pay to win. Nobody sensible will disagree with you on that if you argue that WoW is pay to win. I would agree with you, but I would say the stuff that you can get by paying to win in WoW isn't something that would give anybody an advantage over myself, right? Everything that somebody can pay for, I can get, you know, by playing the game. So it doesn't really affect me at all. Not defending World of Warcraft, there definitely are some things like, you know, I don't love the WoW token. I hate the way the legendary system's designed, which is why I basically invested 2 million gold into legendary crafting this patch. Not because I want to make a profit on it, but because I want to make sure that my guild doesn't have to fork out millions of gold to get everybody 291 legendaries. So I've invested money in that to make sure that other people don't need to deal with that bullshit, in my guild, at least. So I dislike a lot of the stuff that WoW does, but at the end of the day, their pay to win doesn't bother me. Lost Ark, it does. You know, it's a personal preference thing. For me, I've looked at it. The pay to win is too much for me to be comfortable playing. I've just made the decision I'm not interested, right? But I always have to say, right? I'm not saying Lost Ark's a bad game. Everything that I've seen, everything that I've been told by my friends, suggests that Lost Ark is a perfectly good game. A lot of them have told me they're having a lot of fun with it, and that's good. You know, a lot of my guildies were playing it. They seem to be enjoying it. A bunch of my friends have been playing it. They also seem to be enjoying it. Good for them, right? I'm not going to sit here and say like, Lost Ark shit because I think it's too pay to win. No, it seems like a fine game. But there's like this mentality that a lot of people have where it's like, if you don't want to play a game, you automatically think it sucks. And then people get mad at you for saying that like you don't want to play this game because, it's not as bad as you think. And I'm sure some people will try to tell me that, Lost Ark's pay to win isn't that bad. And I'm sure that, to you, it probably isn't that bad. But I've looked at it a decent amount by now, and in my opinion, for me personally, it's too much. That's just like my personal opinion. You're welcome to have your own. It's a free country. Well, at least where I live. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get into politics, but the sad reality is a lot of countries aren't free. So maybe I shouldn't say that. Yeah, I'm not going to get into politics, but obviously, if you're probably watching the news to a certain extent, you know what's happening. It sucks. Really feel bad for all those people. It's fucking horrible. But yeah, I'm not gonna drag the mood down because I don't want to talk about that shit. Honestly, I will say there's a certain level of like, even I've had to stop closely paying attention to the news now because it's one of those things where it'll just stress you out. I like to stay informed, but it's like I'll find out what's happening, and then I'll be like, all right, I could read a million different opinion pieces on like, this is what might happen next. Nope. Just closing the news now. I'm going to go on. I'm like, okay, I've been caught up to date with the current information. I am not going to stress myself out further. That is like my current approach to the news because it is what it is. There is unfortunately nothing I can personally do about it. God damn, this Worldbreaker schematic is not dropping. But yeah, so personally, you can feel however you want about Lost Ark. I know a lot of people really like Elden Ring. Elden Ring definitely doesn't have any like pay to win or anything like that. I'm not interested in it for a different reason, and that's just I've never really liked the Souls type games. Or I wouldn't say never really liked it because I haven't really played. I've like barely played like Dark Souls 1 and 2. I lost interest early on. I've heard the controls got better, so it's one of those things where maybe years down the line I'll check it out and I'll end up really liking it. But when I played the early Dark Souls games, the controls were just so clunky. And some people can get past that. I have a lot of people who told me like, oh, it gets better, stick with it. Like, you get used to the controls and then it's really fun. But I could not get past that. It's like a minor gripe, sure, but it was enough for me to not be interested. And once again, not saying it's a bad game, just not for me. But like, I'm not sitting there basically, judging my guildies saying like, you're shit because, you're playing Lost Ark and like, who would want to play boring Lost Ark? Ha ha ha. I'm not doing that. So I think it's just insulting when people do that to me and say like, oh, you like farming rares? Haha, what a loser. Like, yeah, we all enjoy what we enjoy. But yeah, all that to say, whatever mindset you want to have, it's fine, but you need to consider the context of like who you're talking to or who you're playing with. If literally nobody agrees with you, and everybody else is doing the exact opposite of you, maybe it's not a very good idea to go out in public saying, I like doing X, like, or I don't like doing dailies, or I don't plan on doing dailies. And the other thing is, I will say, there's a certain level of like, he's saying, I don't like doing Zereth Mortis daily shit. Yeah, neither do, fuck. But yeah, like, neither do any of us. I don't think, like, maybe somebody's watching this video and they're like, I love Zereth Mortis. Zereth Mortis is the best SoM that Blizzard has ever created. Like, I don't enjoy it. And I've made, like, a million videos on it. Like, I don't know. I think some people may get the impression that I, like, really, really love, like, all this shit in WoW because I make videos covering it. Like, I've said before, I don't like leveling. I kind of hate leveling. The reason that I make leveling guides is so that I can do it faster, so I can spend less time doing it. Now, I know it's kind of like a contradiction because, like, at the end of the day, by making the guides, I end up spending more time leveling than I would if I just leveled my character and was done with it. But the way I see it is like, I am sacrificing my time so that you guys can level faster. You know, uh, like that's kind of the way I view it. You know, it's fun. Also, I will say the one of the bigger reasons is I like doing video editing, right? That is fun. So probably if I was just like doing written guides, I probably wouldn't like it. I actually find making written guides to be kind of boring. It's just not as fun as doing video editing. I find video editing to be like more fun, but I still make written guides. Like it's not too much, especially if I'm already doing like a script and stuff like that for the video. I can usually like convert that script into a written guide fairly easily. But if it was just written guides, I would be bored out of my mind. I probably wouldn't do that. But I get to make videos. I get to help other people out at the same time. So I might end up spending a little bit more time leveling, but all of my future attempts leveling are going to be faster. And everybody who watches my guides' future attempts leveling will be faster. So it's like, it's a trade-off, right? Oh, what the fuck just happened? Oh, what the hell? Hello? Whoa. Is OBS still working? It looks like the recording's still going. Oh, okay. Yeah, wow. That was super weird. I don't know what the hell happened there. I'm pretty sure that was just on WoW's end, because nothing else happened with my computer. Like, it wasn't a computer crash. It was just World of Warcraft, like, minimized itself, froze for a few seconds, and then unfroze. And I checked OBS, and, like, the recording was black, but it was still going, and it was still processing my audio just fine. I've never had that happen before. That's weird. Anywho, what was I saying? That's it. I've got it running. Let's finish this. Alright. And pop up here. Oop. Skip cutscene. Should survive this. Yeah. Cool. Probably could have popped a glider first, but I don't think it really matters. I think it's faster to just pop gun shoes here. I don't think I've ever really tested it. I think I've always, like, done glider plus gun shoes, but I wonder if glider's actually faster. Because if you get the momentum of gun shoes going off the tank, it might actually save a little bit of time. I don't know. Not really caring about speedrunning. I like thinking about that stuff in theory, but I've already explained the reasons why I don't really enjoy speedrunning. I think earlier I said there were two reasons that I don't love speedrunning. The first was the one that I already stated about the competitive stuff, but the second is the fact that it's just added stress. So, if I'm leveling efficiently, it's not really stressful. You know, I just get to, I have all the fun aspects of trying to, like, optimize my leveling, but none of the stress of, like, having to follow a timer, which is why there's no timer here. I hate timers. Timers give me stress. At least timers give me stress if it's something where I already know how long it takes me. If it's something I've never done before and I'm just trying to time my first attempt, then I'm not too concerned, because then it's just like, I'm just setting a baseline. Doesn't matter. But if it's something where I already know how fast I can complete this normally, and then I'm competing against, like, my own time, it always adds stress, even if it's not, like, a competitive thing. Just, you know, I don't like it. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, yeah, that guy in my Discord. But yeah, it is impressive. That one dude, he manages to have the worst fucking takes about everything. It's like, I don't know how he does it. Like, he collects all of the bad takes possible, and then just busts them out whenever he sees fit. He's done also some really dumb shit. Like, I kind of am not 100% sure if I want to talk about this, but, like, also he's pissed me off a ton. He's pissed a lot of other people off a ton, and I kind of figured that, like, nobody in my guild is actually going to watch this, so if they do, oops. But I'm also not naming him. Obviously, I don't want to, like, you know, out somebody, because, you know, there's minuscule chance. I don't think my viewers would do that, but there's always the concern, right, that, you know, somebody will get, like, harassed if I, like, you know, mention their name or something like that. And I don't want that to happen. Definitely not. I think Redoubt is, like, the best talent now, right? Uh, let's go with Redoubt. I remember Blessed Hammer used to be the best. But I remember hearing that, like, the meta changed. Anyways. Yeah, so I doubt my viewers who do that, but I'm not going to name him anyway. It's one of those things where it's like, if you're in my guild and you happen to be watching this, which I doubt it, you know, you probably know who I'm talking about. You already know who I'm talking about based on the previous thing. About, like, the stuff in general chat. But I'm guessing none of them are going to watch this, because I wouldn't want to, like, start drama like that. Like, it pisses me off, and I'll bitch about it here, because I figure here, you know, it's not going to start any drama, it's just me complaining. And, you know, I've always liked to just complain about shit that's happening on my videos. That's just how I like to do them. But if I was, like, making a conscious decision to stir up shit, I wouldn't do it then. I don't want to start shit, right? Like, at the end of the day, this guy pisses me off, but I don't want to, like, cause drama within the guild because of it. Because the moment he started doing this, I went straight to the guild leader, and I was like, hey, just letting you know, this guy's pissing off a bunch of us. Like, we're really not happy with what he's saying. And the guild leader, to his credit, actually agreed with me and was like, yeah, that shit's not okay. You know, we're obviously trying to be a bit more serious this tier. We'll have a chat with him and let him know that we're not happy with that stuff. So that was actually nice to hear. It's always good to, like, hear, you know, somebody reaffirm that, like, you're not crazy. Because I was pretty sure that was, like, our mindset. And I was so frustrated to see this guy, like, openly stating that he just didn't give a shit. I'm like, but they've already said that, like, this is the baseline expectation for people in the guild. So my guild leader was basically like, hey, you know, he can do what he wants, right? But if he ends up underperforming because of the shit that he does, then yeah. Which is, you know, that's fair. That's always been my mindset. I've always had, like, when it comes to, like, guild leading and stuff like that, my mindset, I've spoken on this before, is like, you know, do whatever the fuck you want, right? Play whatever the fuck you want. But at the end of the day, the best 20 players are going into that raid. So if you're constantly fucking up and your damage is low because you didn't do XYZ thing that everybody else did, you don't get the raid spot. It's really that simple. There's a lot of other guilds that won't do that, but that has always been my view on how, like, serious progression should be handled. This guild advertised itself as a serious progression guild, and from what the guild leader has told me, they plan on standing by that. So, yeah, you know, that's fine. As long as they act on it. Like, I trust them, though. Like, so far, I've enjoyed my time in this guild. I think the, you know, officers, for the most part, like, you know what they're doing. I don't 100% see eye to eye with them on everything, but it's like, it's usually minor stuff that, like, we disagree with, like, very, very minor stuff where it's like, yeah, like, I'll bring it up to them and they'll be like, you know, our view on this is X. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. You know, it's not the kind of thing where I'm like, oh my God, you don't agree with me on this, I can't be in this guild. Which, like, I've had in the past. There's some times where, like, you know, you have, like, a fundamental disagreement with the guild leadership to the point where you just cannot get along and you have to find a new guild. So far, like, anything that we've had disagreements with, it's, like, very, very minor shit that I've just been like, yeah, doesn't matter to me. You know, I'm fine with it. Like, one of the things is, like, I guess alt runs or, like, old raid runs and stuff like that. They're not really big into, like, setting, like, a day aside for that. Obviously, I don't think that should ever be mandatory, but I've always liked to have one day set aside with, like, an optional alt run. For them, it's, like, kind of not very important. Which, you know, I'm kind of like, yeah, it's fine. You know, if you don't want to set aside alt runs, like, it's not a deal breaker for me. But also, they've kind of said, like, you know, if in the future you want to, like, set that up yourself, and, you know, we can try to help you with that as best we can, that's an option. So they acknowledge that it's something that if people are interested in, they'd be willing to, like, let me do that on my own, and they just, like, give me the tools to set that up on my own, which I'm like, okay, yeah, perfect, that works for me. They're very, like, flexible, and they're honestly pretty chill, and honestly, that's all I can really ask for. Just people who are not assholes, really. There's enough assholes in this game that, you know, I don't want to have to deal with them on a daily basis. Alright, now I can return to Orgrimmar. I'm doing my standard route. Sometimes I like to spice it up. This time I'm just, you know, I'm doing the standard thing. Nothing special. I'm just going through the motions, doing the Silverpine Forest WOD route, just because I want to get this done as soon as possible. I'm not sure how long I'm going to go today. Probably going to stop, not soonish, but like when I'm done talking about, I guess, everything that I want to talk about. So let's see. I don't know, what mount can I ride? Is there a hawk mount? Could ride it just a hawk strider. Armored red dragon hawk. Red dragon hawk, nah. I don't know if there is just a regular hawk mount. Yeah, there's like dragon hawks. I get spire hawk. Nah, it's like a flaming hawk. Yeah, dragon hawks are probably like the closest you can get, but they're not really like hawks. Oh well. You know, gotta take what you can get, I suppose. So in that case, yeah, maybe I do like maybe armored red dragon hawk. I don't fucking know. What are the other ones? Eclipse dragon hawk and ivory hawk strider. Huh? Where's that from? There's so many mounts that I don't know where to even get them. Oh well, let's go with armored red dragon hawk, and then of course I need to go with yeah, Grand Expedition Yak, that bad boy. All right, and away we go to Silverpine Forest. I could probably disable Chromie time. Yeah, I'll disable Chromie time. Like to return to the present timeline. Spell not learned. What the fuck? That was weird. Apparently, you can't return to the present timeline if you're mounted. Strange. All right. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So all that to say, you know, I'm pretty chill with the officers, but this one fucking dude, oh boy, he said a lot of really dumb shit. Basically, two things. I would say there's been a lot of dumb shit that he has just said, like in general, that has frustrated me. But the two major instances where he just really pissed me off, there was one of our Sylvanas pulls before our kill. He managed to fuck up like a lock gateway because he's a warlock, right? So I guess I'm narrowing it down a bit, but we have like a bunch of warlocks in our guild. So if you're not in our guild, you know, it doesn't narrow it down enough. We have a fuck ton of warlocks. But at that time, he was like the only warlock that was there that night. And he was assigned to drop warlock gateways. Obviously, there's a lot of spots in Sylvanas where a warlock gateway is really important. So if you aren't familiar with Sylvanas, in the final platform, so, oh right, yeah, I forgot, it does this shit. That's fine. I can just run to Silverpine from here. I'll pop Gunshoes to make it a little bit faster. I'm trying to save Gunshoes for the most part, just because I'm trying to be like a bit efficient with golds. This isn't like a budget run or anything, but I just don't want to spend golds or use expensive items where I don't absolutely have to. Ow. Ow. Really? It covers this entire area? Huh. Well, that sucks. See, here's the nice thing about it not being a speedrun. I've said this before, but you know, if it's a speedrun, I get mega tilted. If it's just a leveling run, I can go, that sucks, and move on. It's just not a big deal. If anything, it's funny. I didn't know that. This might be a problem. I might be fucked. We'll see. I'll see how I figure this shit out. You know, okay, I've decided. I'm gonna make this video like 2 hours. I think I've discussed a good amount of stuff. I'll fit a few more topics in there. I was hoping to get the Sylvanas video in. I'll figure out how to do that for part 2. If anything, what I might do is I'll make it an unlisted YouTube video, and then I'll just watch the YouTube video. Because that I know how to do very easily. But I don't want to, like, publish my Sylvanas kill. It's one of those things where, like, if it's early in the tier, I'll throw it out there. But at this point, it's just no reason. Okay, so... It kills me through bubble! What the fuck? Come on! Okay. So I definitely should have swapped timelines. I didn't really think that it would do that. I figured if I stayed along the edge, the blight wouldn't kill you. I thought that was only like down in the fields and like within the city. Ah! Alright, okay, I'll just, while I figure this shit out, I'm gonna continue. Yeah, so on Sylvanas, if you're unfamiliar with the fight, on platform 4 in phase 3, basically phase 3, right, you know, this happens on Heroic 2, you get onto a platform, she casts Raise, the entire platform effectively becomes, like, unusable, covered in black shit, and you have to move to the next platform. So Mythic, same thing, you have 4 platforms, she does that, it's basically like the soft enrage of the fight. You get to the final platform, when she casts Raise, it's effectively a soft enrage, because you have until Raise just murders your entire raid group to actually finish her off. So, on that final platform, she does Banshee's arrows. Whatever the thing is where, you know, you, like, she targets players and then does, like, a big burst of AoE damage. Now, the general strategy that people use on Heroic, if you've killed Heroic Sylvanas, is they just have people jump off the cliff. So, on Heroic, you know, somebody gets an arrow on that final platform, you suicide them, and just burn the boss. That's generally speaking what I've seen most people do. On Mythic, obviously, you don't really want to do that because it's a tight damage check. So you need to make sure that everybody survives those arrows. So the way you deal with it is you have the entire raid, minus the arrow people, stack up in one corner of the platform because it's like a square. So the farthest distance apart you can get is basically standing on opposite corners of that square. So usually we jump over, we stand in the corner closest to where we jumped over, and then everybody goes to the far, or everybody with the arrows, or not everybody, let's clarify this. Everybody goes to that corner. The person with the next arrow up will go to the far corner. But if you know the way that Sylvanas does her big bursts with like her arrow thing, is she basically fires them off really quickly. So if you're all the way on the other side of that platform, and the arrow goes off that you're supposed to be taking out there, you can't get back to the group in time unless you have something like Heroic Leap or Infernal Strike or one of those like big teleport or jump spells. So a lot of classes are fine. A lot of classes can handle it. But if you're like a priest, you won't be able to make it to the stack group in time where we have like, I don't remember. Do we use Spirit Link Totem there? I don't think so. Huh, that guy's camping the rare. But we definitely use like Priest Barrier on that point. So like we're stacking like, you know, raid wide things. I think we use like Aura Mastery and like the Priest Barrier at that point. Tons of like defensives going out in that like stacked pile. Lots of AoE healing being pumped out. If somebody isn't standing in there and they're not like a tank, they're probably dead. So you want to make sure that you get immediately from the far edge to the stack point. And you also want to make sure that people with the arrows that aren't about to go off are stacked within the group early on, and that they immediately get out to the point where they have to drop their arrow, like, as soon as possible. So the way we handle that is with a Warlock Gateway. The way that everybody handles that is with a Warlock Gateway. You put a gateway from the stack point over to the point where you're supposed to drop off your arrows. Basically, the first arrow will just walk out there. The moment their arrow goes off, they gateway back. Then, the moment they gateway back, the other person pops a gateway, goes over to the far edge, takes their arrow, and then they just have to run back. Generally speaking, the second person has the highest risk of dying, right? Because if they don't have a way to, like, get back really quickly, they already use their gateway to get out there. And then the third person, same thing. They wait in the stack point when it's their time. They take the gateway out, but they're in less danger because there isn't an arrow coming right after them. So that's how it works. You basically have people take gateways to quickly hop back and forth between the, you know, danger arrow points and the stack points. That minimizes deaths, and if you don't get really unlucky with the assignment on the second arrow, generally speaking, you have 0 deaths. Good, right? Well, our one Warlock, which was this guy, the one that was, like, really, you know, bitching about not wanting to have to farm and not really complaining about how well he progresses, he forgot to put a gateway down. So, Sylvanas, Platform 4, he forgot to put a gateway, and because of that, somebody who had an arrow who used their gateway control shard just didn't go anywhere. And they were like, wait, what? And then boom, the entire raid was dead because an arrow went right into the stack point. Now, on its own, right, that's not very bad. It's kind of whatever. It's like, accidents happen, shit happens. Nobody's going to be really too mad. We all just kind of laughed at it at first. I think most people laughed at it. In fact, I was just kind of like, whatever, early on, until my co-tank actually, who was recording it, noticed or heard something that I didn't. I actually completely missed him saying that. But when my co-tank later on messaged me and was like, oh my god, this motherfucking warlock, I can't stand him, and basically linked me the VOD and like the timestamp, it was like, listen to what he said. Because I didn't know what he was talking about. And he was like, no, listen right here. Listen to what he says after fucking up the gateway. And then when I heard it, it pissed me off. The first thing he says is, oops, I thought it was platform 3. Which, once again, that one I did hear. That one I'm just like, oh my god, this fucking guy. Like, it's the kind of thing where you still probably won't be mad about it. But it's just kind of dumb. Like, it's one thing to say, oh, fuck, I forgot, my bad. But, like, I thought it was platform 3. It's like, they're different platforms. Like, they look kind of similar, but it's hard to get that lost within a fight that you're, like, 2 minutes in the fight, like, confused. Like, you think it's 2 minutes earlier than it actually is. But once again, not the biggest deal. Fine. It's like, whatever. So, that one I remember hearing, and I didn't really care too much. But then, the stuff that I missed him saying, because a bunch of other people were talking, but you can hear him saying it, if you listen closely, and I guess my co-tank heard it at the start and kind of got mad at him for it, is he said something like, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. That's not the reason that we wiped anyway. Basically saying it because I think we already had, like, 3 people dead, so we weren't going to meet the DPS check anyway. But this was, like, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was, like, early in Prague, but it was, like, at least a week or 2 before we ended up killing her. So it wasn't necessarily like, we don't need experience on Platform 3 at all. We had already seen Platform 3 a few times, or Platform 4 a few times. We had already, like, gotten there, gotten some prog on it. We were doing pretty good, but it still would have been nice to see some more of it. Thought I heard a noise. But yeah, it would have been nice to see more into Platform 4. I don't think at that point we had hit Enrage. Not 100% sure, I can't remember. But I don't think we had gotten to Enrage yet. So it's one of those things where, yeah, it would have really helped if we had gotten to actually see that. But we didn't. Because he fucked up the gateway. So, sure, that wasn't the entire reason we wiped. Admittedly, in that case, it was literally the reason we all died. So it is kind of a stupid thing to say regardless. But you could theoretically argue that, we didn't die just because I fucked this one mechanic up. There were other factors at play, right? But that alone, that's just dumb to say. If you fuck something up, just admit you fucked something up. That's always been my mindset. If somebody messes up, like, I've been the first to admit, in many cases, I fucked something up. Like, I'll be the first to admit that, I wouldn't say it's 100% my fault. Well, it's my fault, but it's kind of out of my hands. I kind of fucked up a few pulls early on in our Sylvanas prog because I was playing my Prot Warrior. Now, is it my fault that some of those pulls were like wipes? Yes, but at the end of the day, it's because I was playing Prot Warrior, and on my Prot Warrior, I literally just didn't have access to, like, any good defensive trinkets. So there were certain, like, overlaps. Like, if I got a Darkness overlap on my Warrior at the wrong time, I was dead. There was literally nothing I could do. So it was my fault that we wiped, but unfortunately at that time, it was kind of out of my hands. There wasn't really a whole lot that I could do. It was just one of those unfortunate things of, like, yeah, the only geared character I have is my Warrior, and I don't have any defensive trinkets. Now, later on, I managed to get my Brewmaster Monk geared, and Brewmaster Monk is way better at that fight than Prot Warrior, and I also had good defensive trinkets on my Brewmaster, so it made it even easier. But yeah, so early on, every single time I fucked up, I was like, yeah, that's my bad. I just died. I felt like shit. It was embarrassing. I don't like dying to dumb crap like that. It feels really, really bad as a tank when you know that your death was the reason that you wiped. And, I mean, of course, I would spend, like, tons of time looking into it after the fact, like, what could I have done? And every single time it literally boiled down to, Prot Warrior is the worst tank for this fight. You literally need one of these defensive trinkets or you cannot survive this overlap. and I just didn't have it. Now, nothing I could have done. It was like I pretty much would have needed one of the cheat death trinkets or Shard of Anhild's Aegis. With our healer composition, I think some Prot Warriors had succeeded with like a different healer composition, but I'm not blaming the healers, right? Like, you know, I should be able to survive on my own. It's not their fault. I didn't have the trinkets, right? I still don't, by the way, which is part of the reason I've just said, fuck it with Prot Warrior. I love Prot, but it's too reliant on too much shit. And it's not even good, even when you have all that shit, as much as I enjoy playing it, that I'm not going to play it this tier. I've been working on it just because it has so much gear that I might as well, like, bring it to alt runs early on, just to, like, feed other people gear. But I'm not going to, like, actually play Prot Warrior anymore. Which sucks, because I know some people have been watching me for a little while. No, I really enjoyed Prot Warrior. And I think a lot of people would say, like, you know, I'm really glad somebody else is, like, playing Prot Warrior because I really enjoy it, and it's a shame that it's not good. So, like, I'm sorry that I've kind of given up on the cause, but I can't. It's just, at a certain point, it's not fun feeling like you're the thing holding your team back, right? So, I enjoy Brewmaster. I don't really enjoy Blood DK, but I'm playing it anyway. Because, you know, Blood DK is really necessary for some fights, so oh well, I guess that's the sacrifice I'm going to make. But I do enjoy Brewmaster, and that's primarily what I'm going to play, and that's pretty good. And, well, I'm working on a Paladin right now. I'm going to be honest. I was already going to level a Paladin. So I've done this before with the Blood DK, right? Where I put up a poll, and I'm like, you know, which one do you guys want to see me level? And then everybody votes for the Paladin. I'm like, oh, no, I got to level another Paladin. And secretly, I'm like, ha ha ha. I already planned on leveling a Paladin on Illidan. Because, you know, I need to level a Prot Pally. I don't need to, actually. I'd be totally fine just playing Brew and Blood DK. But I actually really enjoy Prot Pally, and Prot Pally's looking, like, insane this tier. So I figure if I'm ever going to play Prot Pally, it might as well be this tier. Because they're looking absolutely bonkers, and I find them really fun. So, decided to level one. If it didn't win the poll, I would have actually leveled it this morning still. And I just wouldn't have made it into a video. I'd probably be watching something on YouTube, and then the only thing that I would use this Paladin for is I will give you a little bit of a heads up on this. I'm actually going to be using this character for, I'd say, like a mini series about like gearing a character in 9.2 at gearing a fresh character in 9.2, like, you know, in the first few weeks, like from fresh character to heroic raid. I don't know what I'll call it. I did that kind of like unintentionally with my Blood DK, and a lot of people really liked it. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but when I did my Blood DK speedrun, I did Blood DK like 1 to 50 or 10 to 50, then Blood DK, 50 to 60, and then I did a third stream because I had free time, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do a third stream, and I'm going to show myself gearing up my Blood DK. And the funny thing is, out of the 3 streams, that one performed the worst in terms of streams. But out of like the videos, that one has actually performed the best in the long term, because I think a lot of people looked at it and were like, oh, I can use this as a blueprint on like how I should gear up my character at max level. And honestly, that was never my intention. I didn't realize that's something that people wanted. In retrospect, I'm like, yeah, why didn't I think of that? That makes total sense. Like, you know, people would want a guide on how to gear up their characters starting from fresh level 60. It makes complete and total sense, but sometimes the most obvious things just never cross your mind. So it ended up being this like happy accident that I just decided, fuck it, I'm gonna, stream myself gearing my Blood DK up from like a fresh 60 to, whatever item level I got. And then a lot of people liked that video. And then I've had people asking me, are you gonna do that again? And initially I wasn't planning on it because, like I said, initially it wasn't even a conscious thing that I decided to make a video on that. But people enjoyed it, so I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I might as well. If people like that, if they find it useful, then I guess I will do a video series on, like, gearing a character up to, heroic raid item level from a fresh 60 point of view. Why not, right? And in fact, there's actually a lot of cool stuff that I have in mind that I could show off that I think would be pretty interesting. Because there's a few things on Zereth Mortis that, are really nice to, like, get your characters caught up that people haven't really caught on to. If you've watched my Treasures of Zereth Mortis video, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm pretty sure not a lot of people have seen that, so that'll probably be a nice little surprise when I eventually do it. What I'll probably do is I'll make like a video guide on how to do that like thing, because I basically put it as like an addendum to my treasure guide, which is why I don't think a lot of people saw it. But then when I'm about to get to that part of like gearing up my fresh character, I'll make like a short video guide telling you exactly how to do that secret treasure room, because I've replicated it on the PTR by now. I know how it's done. And it's not available on live servers yet. We need to wait until, I think, week 7. So it's going to take a few weeks for it to actually be available. But when it is available, I'll put out a video covering it. So, actually, it probably won't be for like another month at this point. That's just how the unlock timers work out. But I'm going to slowly gear this Paladin up. This is the kind of thing where I'm going to be like drip feeding you instances of leveling this Paladin and, I don't know, gearing this Paladin in like 2-hour sessions each or so. This will be like a maybe bi-weekly thing. I don't know. We'll see how we go. But like I said, I want to keep this one short. So I said I was going to get it to around 2 hours. So we have 20 minutes left. And I also kind of want to hit level 20. So what I'll do is basically whichever comes last, 2 hours and level 20, that's how far I'll go. So if I hit 20 and then, you know, it's not 2 hours, I'll keep going for a bit. Or if I hit 2 hours and I'm not level 20, I'll go until I hit level 20, etc. But yeah, there's a few different things that I think I can do. One thing I will say, though, is I kind of also did that with my Survival Hunter. But with my Survival Hunter, I did like, you know, pugs only. Basically, like only joining pugs and stuff like that. How geared can you get? Or how easy is it to get geared? That challenge was cancer. I think it was enlightening for a lot of people. A lot of people said they enjoyed that because it does show how bad pugging in WoW really is. Honestly, I'm hoping it's going to get a little bit better with the fall of boosting communities, because when boosting isn't as prevalent, it's easier to find pug groups. So that's my hope. But if that doesn't happen, you know, it's still going to be absolutely cancer, and I don't really want to do it again. So I think that was a nice little one-time experiment. Any future gearing videos that I do are going to be like with everything available. I'm going to run with my guild. I'm going to get outside help, that kind of thing. So I don't know. Maybe it won't be as good for people, but I'll still try to like, you know, give advice where possible. Like I'm not going to, one thing I won't do is I'm not going to buy like a full set of mythic BOEs for myself and be like, this is a good way to get gear. No. I'm going to do stuff like that anybody can reasonably do, because I've always said that, you know, if you're a new player to this game, one of the best things that you can do to help yourself out is to find a guild. It's not necessarily easy, but if you find a good guild with nice people that are willing to help you out, oh my God, it makes life so much easier. So definitely try to do that. I've always said that like pugging should be your last resort. Like if you absolutely cannot find a guild, where I've been there, right? I've definitely been in positions where no matter what I do, I cannot find a good guild, and I end up just like pugging. For like the first month of Sanctum of Domination, I just pugged straight up. I joined groups of my warrior, and I eventually got AOTC entirely within a pug. And then finally, I found some guilds, I joined some guilds, and then it was much easier from then on. But until that point, I just said fuck it, and I joined pug groups. But definitely, you know, don't do that as like your first option. Do that if you literally can't find anything else. So I will be doing the Paladin gearing thing in more of a, you know, how to do this, whatchamacallit, when you actually have like the tools at your disposal, like mailing stuff from my alts, you know, doing stuff in groups, all that jazz. I thought that was a chest for a second. It looked like a chest. Come to think of it, we haven't actually found any chests yet. A little bit disappointing. I was really hoping to find like at least one. That would have been nice, but oh well. I'm at 17. Yeah, I still have a bit of ways to go. I think one thing that's going to be nice is I wanted to get this video out there just because, I'm going to be real, I don't have anything to post this weekend. So I kind of said, like, I've been just farming rep, but not much is going on, you know, this week. It's the first week of the patch. There's really nothing to cover. one thing that I kind of did is I went overboard, right? I covered literally everything on the PTR. Do I have Avengers Shield? I'm so stupid. I've had Avengers Shield this whole time. Ow. I haven't been using it. God damn it. Well, at least now I know. Would have been really embarrassing if I went the entire process not using Avengers Shield. Fuck. Oh well. God, how many people have been screaming at me like, he hasn't put Avengers Shield on his spell bar yet? Ah! And I'm gonna get like a nasty comment like, you know, oh my god, this guy's so stupid. How did he forget to put Avengers Shield on his spell bar? Ah! Oh well. I deserve it, honestly. That one was stupid, especially for me. I've leveled Brat Pallies before. Like, I don't know how it just occurred to me. Like, I guess I was kind of thinking like, I should have Avengers Shield by now. And I just kept thinking like, oh, I guess I forgot what level I unlock it at. And I kept thinking like, wow, Avengers Shield unlocks way later than I thought it did. But when I checked my level just a second ago and I saw it was 17, it suddenly occurred to me, I'm like, no, I definitely should have Avengers Shield by now. And then I checked my spellbook, so... damn it. I think you unlock it at like level 10. I was surprised that I didn't get it by now. I was like, wow, did they change that? God damn it. Oops. Anyways, yeah, so I basically went out of my way to cover, like, everything on the PTR. Like, I don't really think I missed anything important. Like, anything significant, I made a video about. Like I said, one of the only things I haven't covered is Torghast and the Raid and Mythic Plus, right? Mythic Plus, I might cover a bit. Normally, I haven't, because I haven't been super into Mythic Plus, but one of my guildies is, like, really big into Mythic Plus pushing, and they needed a tank. So they were like, okay, Haraldin, you're tanking for me. And I'm like, okay. So they, like, put together a Mythic Plus push group. We haven't actually run anything yet, right? Because the season hasn't started, but I've been chatting with them. They seem like nice people. But they just kind of dragged me in. They're like, you're pushing with me this season. I'm like, all right, sure, I guess, you know. I kind of, you know, want to anyway. I hate Mythic Plus pushing when I'm, like, I don't know anybody. But now that I'm actually in a guild with people that I enjoy playing with, like, yeah, I'm fine to push stuff. I think that would be fun. So I'm willing to give it a shot. So, I don't know, maybe I'll make videos about Mythic Plus. I have no idea. Definitely, it feels like a lot of the people in this push group care a lot about Mythic Plus, and they're, like, way serious about it, and I'm kind of just there, like, yeah, you know, I got Keystone Master last patch and then didn't do keys for, like, 6 months, so, you know, they're like, oh yeah, you know, I was pushing a plus 23 last week, and I'm like, yeah, you know, the highest I ever went last season was, like, an 18. That said, you know, I pushed keys a lot in Legion. I pushed keys a little bit in BFA. Like, I think it was only in Nyalotha. I pushed keys a decent amount in Nyalotha, but outside of that, I just wasn't in a good team, so I just never did. But in Legion, I pushed keys like a fiend. I was constantly pushing keys. I think I got up to like a 23 or 24 back in Legion, which at the time I think was like pretty good. But yeah, I don't know. I was pretty happy with how far I got at the time in Legion, but I don't know, I never really wanted to push keys since then. I still don't really want to push keys, but it's like, I don't hate it. So I figure if I have people to run with, might as well, right? I'm not, like, against the idea. But all these people are, like, super serious. They're, like, you know, really used to pushing keys super high every season. And, you know, here I am. I'm just like, yeah, I get 15s for my vault, and that's about it. But it's not like I can't do it. I'm very confident in my ability to tank dungeons. Like, even if I haven't done, like, super high key pushing lately, like I said, did it in Legion, and I tanked challenge mode dungeons for, you know, years, right? And it's dungeon tanking is, like, it's a skill set, and even if it's one that I haven't used in a while, you know, you don't really forget how to ride a bike, right? Same thing with, like, you don't forget how to dungeon tank. Especially, for the record, I got Keystone Master entirely in pugs last season, mind you, as a prot warrior. So, I would say, if anything, that's more of an accomplishment than, like, you know, getting plus 20s with a meta class. Because, do you know how fucking hard it was to get invited to plus 15 groups as a pug, as a prot warrior. It was a fucking nightmare. Like, basically, half the time, I was just sitting there trying to, like, get into a group because I would just get declined from everything. Just like, you know, go play Paladin, go play Blood DK, lol, that kind of thing. But this tier, I'm finally playing a class that people actually consider meta. So, you know, maybe I'll actually be able to get invited to shit, which will be nice. Now, it's something I'm not entirely used to, because I feel like I always end up playing off-meta shit. But that'll be fun. And that'll also probably make it a little bit easier. And also, Brewmaster, the Brewmaster 4-piece in Mythic Plus is going to be so fucking insane. I honestly can't wait to do that. Because it literally, like, if you don't know about Brewmaster, the 4-piece basically turns Keg Smash into a Death Strike, which is crazy. Because, like, Death Strike is Blood DK's thing. You know, this massive heal. Well, Keg Smash is an AoE Death Strike that scales based on the damage it does, and there's a million ways for Brewmaster to get more Keg Smashes and buff their Keg Smash damage. It's fucking crazy. So, yeah, I'm absolutely looking forward to that. I would say another reason I didn't like pushing keys on Brewmaster is I hate Necrolord Brew. I love Kyrian. I think Kyrian on Brewmaster is, like, the most fun Covenant. And with the new Keg Smash stuff, well, yeah, Kyrian is probably going to be the meta. I've seen some people saying they think that Necrolord's going to be, like, really good for high push keys, or slightly better for high push keys. But, first of all, I'm probably not going to be pushing plus 25s, right? That's not my goal. I'm not going to try to get, like, you know, the #1 tank spot in the world. As long as I'm getting, like, plus 20s done, and, you know, having fun, right? Then that's fine by me. And I'm pretty sure up to the rank that I'm probably going to try to push, yeah, I think that Kyrian will be the best. Because when you already have that much damage and that much burst threat, which is important for a tank in dungeons, and your one major weakness as a Brewmaster, because, like, normally Brewmasters, they have insane, whatchamacallit, damage deference. I don't know what the exact term is. I've used it before, but I'm blanking on it right now. But Brewmasters can, with Stagger, obviously, delay their damage by a shit ton. Brewmasters they take a lot of damage, but they spread that damage out. Damage smoothing is the term that I was looking for, right? Brewmasters have ridiculous damage smoothing. They take a shit ton of damage, but they spread it out, so it makes it much easier to heal. So they already have that going for them. So what is Brewmaster's biggest weakness? By far, lack of self-healing. Like, their self-healing is shit. The best, like, healing that they have is Celestial Fortune, but that requires you to be actively healed by a healer. But this, now Brewmaster has Death Strike. It's like, you know, if you thought of the most broken thing that you could give to a Brewmaster, it would probably be Death Strike. And they're getting Death Strike with their 4-piece. It's crazy. And it also does a shit ton of damage on top of that. So I'm actually really looking forward to doing keys as a brew, because that's going to be fucking fun. You know, with Storm Stout's last keg, you can just bank a charge. The moment you start taking a lot of damage, boom, keg smash like a group of 5 mobs, you're going to be immediately healed to full. It's going to be so fucking good. So that's going to be really fun. Yeah, I do sometimes feel like a little bit of an outsider in that group, because it's like, you know, they're all super into key pushing, and I'm just, you know, I'm that guy. I'm that guy who's, like, always too busy to do, like, a fun plus 15, like, the past few weeks. They're like, hey, anybody want to, like, do a fun plus 15? And I'm like, I can't. I got shit I gotta do. So, hopefully, like, you know, it'll actually work out well. They seem nice, though, so I'd imagine I'll get along well with them. But yeah, like, the entire point I'm trying to say is I will probably end up doing more Keystone-related stuff. Like, I don't know. What I might do is, like, tank guides for every single Keystone. Like, you know, how to tank Plaguefall in, you know, Shadowlands Season 3. Something like that. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see how we go. If I have free time and I feel like it's something that's important, like, you know, one of the things that I think a lot of tanks struggle with in keys is knowing what the route is. So there's, like, routes that you can find online where people will post, like, you know, oh, this is the recommended route or something like that. But, you know, a lot of times it's more generalized. You know, as a tank, I can speak personally. I know this is something that I would love. If there was just like a one-stop shop where I could look and see exactly what the best route is for tanks with tank-specific tips. Like, oh, this is something that you can do like on this week, and it's like, oh, if you're like a Blood DK, you can do this. If you're a Brewmaster, you can do this, etc., etc., etc. I'm sure it exists somewhere, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just missing it. I know like Dratnos and Tettles are both like really good for like general Mythic Plus stuff, and I've gone to them, but I've never found that like they offer amazing tank specific tips on each dungeon. At least like abridged, right? Maybe they have it like in a long video that I just haven't felt like watching or something like that. But I haven't ever seen like a quick guide to tanking like, Plaguefall or pushing Plaguefall as a tank. I don't know. It's just not something that I remember seeing. Maybe somebody's going to like leave a comment and say, actually, Dratnos has a really good video guide on this. Because I know that Dratnos does play Guardian Druid. So it's entirely possible that he has released like guides on how to tank each dungeon. Because he tanks and, he's really big into Mythic Plus. I've watched a bunch of his other videos. So I don't know. Maybe he does have a guide on that and I just haven't seen it. If he does, please let me know. Because I would actually love to check that out. But, well, actually, at this point, it probably wouldn't be super relevant. But I guess I would like to see it just so I know, like, the type of format he's doing. If he is doing something like that. But whatchamacallit, that's something that I think I might do. One thing that I will probably do is a guide on tank-specific tips for every single, like, Mythic or Heroic boss. Heroic, I'll probably group it up. Like, I think what I'll do for, like, tank-specific tips is if there's a bunch of easy bosses, like, I'm assuming that, like, the first 3 bosses of Sepulchre, the first ones, are going to be, like, a joke. So what I'll probably do is do, like, one video on, like, how to tank the first 3 bosses of Sepulchre, the first ones, or something like that, on Heroic. And then, for fights like Anduin, which I'm imagining are going to be a bit more intensive for tanks, based on what I've seen, I can do, like, its own video on, like, tips on tanking Anduin on Heroic, or something like that. Because one thing that I have noticed is there doesn't seem to be a lot of, like, tank-focused guides. There's a lot of raid guides out there, right? But a lot of times when I'm looking it up, a lot of guides will just be like, oh yeah, for tanks, taunt at this, and, you're just gonna need to survive this other thing. But there's a lot more to tanking than just, like, taunt at X, and, do this. Like, one thing is, I never found, like, a really good explanation for how to do the Remnant of Ner'zhul, like, orb mechanic. Maybe there's a guide out there that I just didn't see, but all the ones that I watched just kind of said, oh yeah, tanks will need to do this mechanic. And I figured it out on my own, obviously. I like to think I'm really good at doing the Ner'zhul orb mechanic. But at no point did I ever see a guide on, like, exactly where you should position. A lot of them were just like, yeah, you can angle it through the orbs and, the hitbox will probably hit all of them. But I found a few really good, like, strategies for doing that, like, really reliably would hit, like, every single orb. So, if I were to make, like, a video on Ner'zhul, there were a lot of things that I could have said. Another thing that I didn't see a lot of people saying is, like, ways to negate knockbacks. Because one of the things as a tank is a lot of times you're going to be out of position with the raid because you'll be either, like, running an orb off, or if you have to, like, stand out, like, to take a suffering or something like that, you may need to get, like, your raid may need to get a dispel off, and you may not be stacked with them. So there's a lot of times where you'll need to basically, like, negate the knockback so that you can survive. And a lot of tanks have a ways to do that. Like, I think Paladins don't, other than Bubble, which, I don't know, maybe you don't want to use Bubble and something like that. But, like, Guardian Druids have, like, Feral Charge, Wild Charge, or Skull Bash and Wild Charge. Blood DKs have Death's Advance, that prevents knockbacks. Brewmaster Monks have Transcendence. Demon Hunters, haha, obviously. And then, like, Warriors have Heroic Leap. So I did that fight on a lot of tanks, and I think that's something that, like, would have been really nice to know when I first started. Because for a while, I didn't know that Death's Advance prevented me from being shot off as a Blood DK. When I figured that out, it made the fight so much easier. I could stand wherever the fuck I wanted. If the orb was about to, or the thing was about to explode, I just popped Death's Advance, boom, I can stand wherever the fuck I want. Because as a Blood DK, I'm fucking slow. And it's really hard for me to get back into position when I'm like handling certain mechanics. So that was really good information that no guides mentioned. At least not that I had seen. So something like that, which has like basically guides on how to do every single boss, and then like tank specific tips on how to do like every single mechanic, I think that could be really nice. Now, admittedly, I probably, for the most part, wouldn't do like in detail tank specific tips on like heroic bosses unless they're really hard. Because like if a heroic boss is really easy, you don't need detailed tanking tips on like how to do everything specifically. But for mythic bosses, generally speaking, you know, there's a lot of stuff that, you know, you'll want to know how to do. Like another great example, Painsmith. So people who haven't tanked Painsmith on Mythic don't know how fucking annoying it is. But the last phase of Mythic Painsmith, you have this really nasty overlap that one of the tanks needs to deal with, where you're going to get the tank swap where you have to run out on the opposite side of the raid while the spiked balls are coming out. And on most of the sets, basically, you're going to have to run straight through a set of balls to get that thing done correctly. Now, if you have like a million bops, you can just use a million bops, right? That's one way to do it. But most people don't have a million bops, so most people will need to actually deal with the mechanic in like, you know, a tank-specific way. Some people just like suicide their tanks, like have them pop defensives and run through it. But there are ways to do it. Like, I figured out a way to cheese that mechanic completely on a Brewmaster Monk that, like, I didn't see covered anywhere. Like, using a pre-placed Transcendence at, like, the most, theoretically best spot. And then it was basically, like, as long as I didn't get extremely bad RNG, I would be perfectly fine. I didn't need to suicide, because I would basically bop one set, transcend the other. And for the most part, you could survive it, like, you know, reliably doing that strategy. And I was like really happy that I managed to figure it out, because before that point I had to suicide myself every single pull, and it was not fun. And there's like other ways to do it, right? Like a lot of people in that fight would just swap to Venthyr, because with Door of Shadows you could just do it without dying. So assuming Venthyr wasn't like a shit covenant for you, that was just a better strategy, because obviously having your tank alive is going to be more ideal than, you know, having them dead with a slightly better covenant. So there's a lot of like very small tanking tips like that that I think could be pretty useful for people. And that I do plan on making guides for. We'll see. I will say it's one of those things where I've said before, I'll do a series until everybody stops watching. So at certain points, like if I try something and nobody wants to watch it, like, you know, I'm not going to make videos on it. Making videos takes time. And the only reason I'm making them is for two reasons. One, because it is nice to have the videos do well, but two, because I want to share that information with people. So if I realize that nobody gives a shit about this information, nobody finds it useful, or nobody enjoys it or finds it entertaining, then I'm just not going to make it. It's like a waste of my time. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing a certain activity, like personally. Like obviously, if I stop making Mythic Raid guides, I'm not going to stop doing Mythic Raiding. I'll keep doing that. I just won't make videos of it. It's the same thing with, like, you know, the WoW forum videos. I've said before, the WoW forum videos just didn't do very well. They took a very long time to make, and they did not do well for the amount of time it took to make them. So I still read the WoW forums every now and then, and I laugh my ass off at some of the dumb shit that people say on it. You know, it's always been a hobby of mine. I love opening up the WoW forums and just reading some really stupid crap, but I just don't make videos on it anymore. It's that simple. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of like my approach to it. If people like the guides, I'll keep making them. But if I make a few tank guides and everybody's just kind of like, you know, don't really give a shit, do another speedrun, then I'm just going to stop making those videos. So we'll see. It's hit or miss. Like, admittedly, you know, one thing that is consistent is people always ask for more speedruns, which is like, I guess it's nice to know that people do enjoy these things, even if it's not a speedrun. Once again, not a speedrun, but like the leveling runs. I think the thing that most people enjoy about these runs, from what I've heard, is just this, the talking, the commentary, the, you know, general discussion side of things. So I'm happy to keep doing that. I don't want to make it a speedrun. which, like, I know some people would probably be disappointed with, but I think this is good enough for the vast majority of people, and it's what I prefer. So I'm gonna keep doing it like this. Okay, yeah. They took a bit of time, but there they go. Vendor all this stuff. And throw this over here. Yeah. There's some other things that have done well. Like, I think one thing that's nice is I'm really glad that the 9.2 guides did well. Like, for the most part, those videos all did really well. I'm happy because I like, you know, going on the PTR. I like testing out the new content. It's always been something I've enjoyed, even before I made videos about it. I did the same thing with 9.1.5, and that was well received. But I guess it's good to see that it's still well received. So the 9.1.5 ones did good, the 9.2 ones did good. I'll do the same thing again with 9.2.5 and tier sets whenever they're eventually, you know, available. I definitely plan on covering tier sets whenever they're actually, you know, testable on the PTR. I'll make a video about that. One thing I hate is there are people already making videos about tier sets, which is like pure speculation, because all we know is from the Blizzard forum posts. There's literally nothing else that you can test. And people are already making videos about tier sets. That kind of pisses me off. It's like, what? Just whatever. I don't know. It's like, where's your integrity, right? Like, make a video when you actually have complete information. Don't just, like, make an 8-minute video full of, like, rampant speculation just for clicks. That I hate. I absolutely fucking hate that. So, oh well. But when I can actually test it, when I can actually get back to you all with, like, concrete information on how that system works, I'll do that, yeah. But that probably won't be for like another few weeks. I don't know when they're going to add it to the PTR. Because they said, I think 8 weeks after the raid comes out is what they said, maybe. I forget exactly. Which, yeah, it's going to be for like another 2 months. But I'm assuming that like within a month or so, they'll probably like actually add it to the PTR. So then I can pop over there again and test it out. But... you know, the entire point is, yeah, that stuff does well. People enjoy that, so I'm happy to keep doing it. I like testing stuff on my own, so I'm glad it does well, because otherwise I'd be spending all this time with the PTR and, you know, pretty much getting nothing out of it, aside from my own personal information. But it's nice to, like, you know, I get to get my own information, I get to help people out, and I get views, which is nice. What else has done well recently? I mean, I guess, like, yeah, it's really just the speedruns and, like, the little guides like that. Surprisingly, I will actually say, I was very pleasantly surprised with this. My my Warhammer 3 video did well. Like, pretty good. Not, like, amazing, but it got, like... how many is it at right now? I haven't checked it in a little bit. Yeah, it's Turn 1 Outdorf as Scrag the Slaughterer. It has 2,000 views, which, like, honestly, not a ton. By the standards of some of my other ones. Like, it's getting beat by most of my 9.2 videos. But 2,000 views on the only Total War Warhammer video I have ever made? I'll take that. Like, that's good. I was happy with that video. I thought it was good. But honestly, I'm like, nobody's going to watch this. Because I've literally made 0 videos on a Total War Warhammer game ever. I love the game. I played it a shit ton. But I just haven't covered it. But, you know, first video I ever made on it did well. So, very happy about that. That said, at this point, on the topic of Total War Warhammer 3, it is kind of a fucking buggy mess. Like, I love the franchise. I'm definitely going to end up playing the shit out of that game. I absolutely love Total War Warhammer. But at the moment, there's just so many issues with it that I just can't play it. The thing that ruined it for me was the supply lines bug. I won't go into detail on that for people who don't know, but there's like a really nasty bug right now with Total War Warhammer 3 that basically just murders your economy. Just all of your armies cost so much more than they're supposed to. And it just makes the game, like, not very fun to play because of that bug. It's not intentional. But it's, like, it's not fun to play when you're basically spending, like, 20% more for every single one of your units. And managing your economy is fine when, like, you know, it's working as intended. But when you know that you're ending up, like, losing a ton of money for things that are, like, not intended, it feels so bad. So I couldn't really continue playing because of that bug. But as soon as they fix it, like, I'll play it in my free time. And if I find something interesting again, I'll probably make a video out of it. But at this point, I haven't been playing it enough to like make more videos on it. And honestly, at this point, WoW is going to be my primary focus. Like, most of the time I spend on Total War Warhammer 3 is going to be like fun, free time. Like, probably not going to cover it too much. If I like have nothing else to do in WoW, like if nothing else is going on, I might actually at some point make like Warhammer 3 guides later on down the track. But one thing that I'm also kind of waiting for is I want to see what like the first DLC is. Because if I make a guide for like a race or something like that, oh, hey, we got a chest. Right towards the end of the video. Got a one chest this run. So it's not a chestless run, which is good. But yeah, like if I make like a guide on how to play like a certain race or something like that, and then like a new DLC comes out right after and completely like revamps everything, it's gonna really suck because that will like kind of date my guide pretty quickly. So if I figure out like which factions are getting updated in the first DLC, I can just cover one that's different so that it'll last longer. In fact, if I make a guide on that game, I'll probably cover the ogres because the ogres are like honestly the most complete race out of any of the ones that came out so far. And I don't think they're going to get many updates because from everything that I've read, there isn't really much to add to them. They'll maybe get like one additional DLC like way later on in the life cycle of the game. So I think it's like pretty safe to make a guide for them now and have that be like accurate for the most part. We'll see though.
I have no time for games.
All right. Oh, yep. We're flying. So yeah, we've passed 2 hours. We've hit level 20. I'm gonna get to the like the end here. I didn't even manage to cover like a lot of my talking points. I still have a lot of stuff to discuss. Yeah, so let's see on my bulletproof list bullet point list. Blah. I can check off gluttonous overgrowth. My guildie has the worst fucking takes possible. Asmongold beating me to Gorkek. What else? Oh, I leveled up by flying. Oh yeah, the key pushing group can check that talking point off the list. And I guess I need to figure out the Sylvanas kill video. I could check Total War Warhammer 3 off, because I guess I did talk about that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I didn't talk about here, huh? Oh, you know what? One thing that I will say really quickly at the end here, because I do have it on this list, and I do think it's important to say sooner rather than later. I did mention earlier in this video that I found like a secret treasure thing in my Treasures of Patch 9.2 video. And that discovery was massive. Like, nobody else had found that on Wowhead. As I talk, I'll do this stuff early on. Yeah, so it was a massive discovery. Check it out if you haven't. I think it's pretty cool. You won't be able to use it for a bit. But assuming you're trying to catch up a character, it's a secret that will let you get, like, free 246 item level rings and trinkets. Pretty good trinkets, too. Like, not amazing. It's not going to compete with, like, File of Future Faction or something like that. But they're solid trinkets. Like, definitely will work well in Raid. And decently statted rings. So check that video out. It'll provide you information on that. And I'll make, like, a more complete guide later on when it becomes available for people who are interested. But it's like a secret treasure room. And it's crazy how valuable of a thing that is to find. Like, there's a lot of, like, minor discoveries that, like, aren't really important, but that's a pretty fucking significant thing, finding a secret treasure room of 246 item level gear. And nobody knew how to get there. And legit, if it wasn't for this dude, Whitehorn, on Twisting Nether Europe, I would not have found it. Like, it's honestly entirely on him for managing to figure this thing out. And, like, I think it was a lucky combination because he didn't even fully understand what he had found. Like, he mentioned it in passing to me, like, oh, I managed to find this thing. And I was like, you found the treasure room? What the fuck? Like, we weren't even able to confirm, like, on Wowhead. Nobody even knew for sure if this thing was actually supposed to exist or not. Like, the only way they knew it existed is they saw, like, some lootable chests in a room because a hunter got up against a wall and used Eagle Eye, or whatever it's called, to look through the wall and see this room, like, down below, and it had, like, chests in it. And we were like, okay, well, you know, or I say we, but I mean, like, the people on Wowhead and myself looking at that were all like, okay, well, maybe it exists, but it might just be something they forgot to remove because nobody knew how to access it. And he managed to find it, And turns out the chests fucking contain 246 item level gear, which is pretty good for catch-up. Like, that's almost enough to get you into normal raids, which is solid. Like, that's, and especially the stuff is, like, really well itemized. And rings and trinkets are by far the best things to have at low item level, because, like, a good low item level ring can last you a while. For any jewelry piece, like necklace too. Same with a trinket. Like, if you're using a trinket that's really, really good, you'll take that over something that's shit at a higher item level. With normal gear, it's not usually the case. Generally speaking, like, main stat over anything. But there's no main stats on rings and trinkets, so that doesn't apply. And this was such, like, a massive discovery, and without Whitehorn's help, I wouldn't have found it. Like, he found it, I told him what he had discovered. I'm like, dude, you just found something that nobody's been able to find. And then we were able to replicate it and find the secret treasure room. And he like, helped me out. He, like, shared all the information he knew. And then, like, on top of that, because, like, I made the video right after, you know, the night that we had discovered it, because I was getting the last bit of footage for my video, and then he, like, found me on the PTR. He didn't know who I was, but he, like, grouped up with me to, like, farm something. And then I think at one point he asked me, like, oh, are you, like, a YouTuber? Because he was asking me a bunch of questions, and I answered all of them about, like, obscure treasure shit. And he was like, okay, are you, like, a YouTuber or something? Because you know a lot about this patch. And I'm like, yeah, I've been doing a shit ton of research on this. And then he mentioned the treasure to me, and then we discovered it. And then literally I had to spend, like, the next 3 hours testing this out, gathering footage, and then rewriting my script, re-editing the video to add all this footage in. It was a lot of work, but I got it out the next day, even though it took a while. But the thing is, after the fact, like, it wasn't just like that. He continued to share, like, really good information with me. Like, the entire reason that I was able to confirm that there's a, like, a daily rotation going on is, like, I had my suspicions. I was pretty sure that something fucky was going on with the rare spawns, but I couldn't confirm. Like, my guildies weren't entirely sure. But I talked to him, and he's on European servers, and we managed to figure out that the rares that were down on North America were the exact same on Europe. Europe's, like, basically half a day ahead of North America. So we were able to figure out that, like, the pattern is the exact same for Europe and North America. So clearly there's something intentional going on there. Because if it was just, like, random on North America, like, some weren't spawning, it would be weird. But if the exact same ones are not spawning for anybody on both Europe and NA, then there's clearly something with the daily rotation happening. And because of his help, I was able to pinpoint that. We've also had, like, a lot of other, like, really, like, good discussions about, like, upcoming stuff in the PTR, like, you know, bouncing, like, ideas on, like, how something works and whatnot. Like, the rep guide, I remember talking to him, like, you know, discussing how you would probably go about doing certain things to, like, optimize rep. So he's helped me a ton. Like, honestly, that dude's awesome. I don't know if any of you know him, probably not. The chances that, like, somebody randomly watching this video knows him is low. But, like, if you happen to be on Twisting Nether Europe and you know Whitehorn, he has, like, a special character in his name, just, like, shoot him a message and be like, hey, dude, you're awesome, because he is. And I asked him, I'm like, you know, can I mention your name in this video? Because I wanted to, like, let people know how cool it was that he helped me out with that. Like, I don't know, it's just, it's nice, because a lot of times I end up having to, like, do all this fucking research on my own. Like, I tried to get some of my guildies to, like, pop onto the PTR and help me out, and none of them did. I don't blame them. Like, it's a lot of work. Not everybody likes to do PTR testing, but it does really help. Like, you know, 2 eyes are better than 1, or 2 heads are better than 1, blah. But I combine the extra set of eyes and 2 heads are better than 1 phrase, whatever. But it does really help. It is really nice when you have, like, that extra, you know, person to help you test it and stuff like that. So he helped me a shit ton testing all this PTR shit. So I really appreciate all that. I had that, like, on my list of topics that I wanted to talk about. So even though I was technically done, I did want to include that because, like, I think it's important to, you know, give him the credit that he earned because, yeah, no, he's a great dude, helped me out a shit ton. But yeah, we've gone way past what I initially planned. Level 22 and 2 hours, 20 minutes, give or take. So as I said, I'm going to be breaking this up into multiple parts. Like, at this point, I'm not even doing this intentionally as, like, a, you know, I want to separate this into, like, you know, a multi-part series to, like, monetize or whatever. Like, I could do that, right? But realistically, you know, the reset happened 2 hours ago.
I need to get onto my alts and I need to start farming. That's just, the reality of things. It's a lot of work having to get all this shit done. So I'm trying to like do all the farming now, week 1, so I can get ahead of my alts, get all that shit done. You know how it is. Anyways, I'll post this probably like as soon as possible, and then once it's up, time to get back to grinding. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I like to, keep posting these every now and then because I know people enjoy the speedrunning, not speedrunning stuff. I have to keep myself from saying speedrunning because it is like a word ingrained in my vocabulary, I guess. But I like these because it gives me a chance to just like talk about stuff. I get like 2 hours to just rant about shit, and it's fun. People like it. I like it. It's a win-win scenario. And I still have a lot of topics here to talk about. Like there's an entire section on like shows that I've been watching recently that I keep adding shows onto this list about like, oh, that was a really good show. I should talk about this and like recommend it to people. And I'm leaving that for like an entire section. So there's going to be like in one of these, like 2 hours where I just talk about shows that I've watched on end. And that's going to be the videos. So yeah, strap in for that one. But once again, yeah, thank you for watching. I will catch you in the next one, whenever that is. Whenever the next part of this is, I'm not sure. But I will stick to the general schedule of like a video once every other day. There was a 2-day gap this time because I uploaded 2 videos back to back. I did one Tuesday, Wednesday. Normally it would have been Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday. So in this case, I did Tuesday, Wednesday. So I just figured, okay, I'll stick to the schedule of posting another one Friday. We'll just call the Wednesday video the Thursday video, That's how I did it. Okay, this is like the 3rd time. I'm going to cut myself off here. I can keep rambling, but I'm going to stop. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you later. Peace.